Why did I defend you singing? Why did I defend you swinging? That funny old tune will drive me to ruin. It came along and made me a slave. Now I'm craving things that I should crave. It came along and made me a slave. Now I'm craving things that I should crave.
Hello everyone, how are we all doing? I hope you're having a good Tuesday, all things considered. I'm only going to mention this like once, and then I'm sure everyone else will handle it in chat. Baha already mentioned. Today we are doing a stream that's like how do I put this? It's a safe place away from all the doom scrolling about the Supreme Court. So we're not talking about that today. I'm sure I will talk about that in the coming days and weeks and months as this, becomes an official decision. But today, I think we've all been scrolling a lot and catastrophizing and thinking about the very real threats to the rights that we all have. But, while those things are serious and need to be considered, we all also need a breath. And if we don't do that, then we're not going to be effective in mounting defenses and protesting, and etc., etc. So, today is going to be a safe place from that stuff. If anyone mentions it in chat, because not everyone comes in at the beginning and happens to mention it, that's okay. It's not their fault. Just kind of let them know, hey, we're not doing that today, politely. And if someone persists, I don't think that'll happen, but if someone were to persist, then they would get timed out. So that's it. Today we're going to laugh at conspiracy theorists. And yeah, that's about it. Everything else is the same. We're playing Tinfoil Tuesday Bingo. If we get to a level 5 hype train, I'll put on all my tinfoil stuff. And that's about it. Oh, today is great, though. I have a bunch of brand new conspiracy theorists for us to cover. So it's almost all people we've never seen before on this channel, okay? So this is going to be good. Hydrate, can do. Let's see what I missed. Purple Nickel, thanks for 17 months, says, 1 month away from our second sub baby. I'm so excited. Little Hannah Peters is getting a sibling. What What else did I miss? Procagon with 50 bits says, I can indeed use a break from doom scrolling. Lady Necro says, not conspiracy, but as a Marvel fan, I felt you should know. I pulled that link aside that we'll look at in a second. Kirathan with 100 bits says, speaking of doom, my final. Good luck on your final. Overthought says, I love the smell of fresh BS. Who doesn't? Hold on, someone posted this with a bit message. Church crucifies Iron Man singing Chumbawamba on stage for bonkers Avengers Easter sermon. Every time we think Christianity can't get any more detached from reality, someone crucifies a tub-thumping Iron Man on Easter Sunday. While Christian churches across the board seem to love denouncing every facet of the entertainment industry as pawns of Satan meant to bring the world to its knees, that's rarely stopped them from trying to snatch up what they can from popular culture and repurpose it in the deeply bizarre name of Christ. For one church in Winnipeg, Manitoba, that appears to involve putting on yearly Easter productions that reimagine the crucifixion using characters from blockbuster movies, like Avengers Endgame. Oh no. Oh god! Oh, this is gonna be so bad. Bumble Homestead, thanks for a bunch of bits, says foil against the doom. And the Insane Bookworm, thanks for subscribing at Tier 1.
You know, Iron Man.
We're on a hype train, 68% to level 1. We have to get to level 5. I need the tinfoil to keep all the bullshit from myself today.
I may have missed the point, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Rodin says, hype time.
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel.
Why are Ultron robots working with Loki? That's just not canon.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down.
I kinda love it! Oh no! It's so, like, cringe that it swings back around into being amazing to me. I love it. Purple Nickel says, chanting, tinfoil, tinfoil, tinfoil. Oh god, they do it. Oh, they have a Back to the Future. Good, good. Gene the Scorned with 55 bits says, I finished my last 2 finals out of 7 today. I got 85 on both. Now to chill for a few days. Nice. Bittergrin with 100 bits says, because Ultron costumes are easier to find than Chitauri costumes. That's fair. Will it work?
Okay, Doc. All right, time circuit's on.
Will I'm not okay says, Nani? The fuck? 97% to level 1.
Fluxing. Engine running. Let's go, Jesse. We're ready. We're ready, Doc.
100 thanks for 100 bits.
Nothing but the best for you. Don't forget me. How big, how remember you said. Sometimes it lasts in love, but
3%
sometimes
level
it
2.
hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead.
Cosmo the Incubus says, honestly, I wish most churches did shit like this. I wish most churches didn't exist. But that's just me.
What will we do now? Now that Simba is dead.
Correction. Simba is alive. I hate to tell you this, but there is no way Simba is getting out of this one alive.
Nope, wrong again. Simba's alive, and I'll show you. You follow Rafiki, he knows the truth. Come on.
5% to level 2.
What? I don't believe it! I thought you were dead!
I was dead, but I have risen, and I will live forevermore.
I see you, Sume. Hello. What the fuck? Why are they like this? Hold on, there's more, there's more. 5% to level 2. Don't you dare let this hype train die today, chat. Mr. Whisker says this made me laugh earlier today. Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub. Brodence, thanks for 100 bits, 41% to level 2. Will I Am Not Okay, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Bittergrin, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
The room meant for the two open doors.
I'll give you guys a link to the article on the church thing in a sec. Voodoo Rusty, thanks for following. Square, thanks for 21 months with Prime, says consultation tomorrow for laser hair removal and next week for HRT. Good for you.
Then what do I do with Jack?
Here's a link to the article about all these. Oh, someone else already posted it. Bittergrin says, okay, ship on a turntable is actually some impressive budget. Yeah, they're a church. They get a lot of untaxed money. Is that it? Boo, I want more. Wait, is this another one?
You know, Iron Man, I may have missed the point, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it.
Overthought says, okay, but can I get Wally on the cross calling to Eva on why she has forsaken him? Daima Oni-chan says, training bits. And Lazy Paradox says, I have many questions that I'm not sure I want the answer to. 18% to level 5.
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it.
What about Pop?
It's
thanks for $5. Says somebody called Disney ASAP.
I feel fine.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down.
Why is it so funny to me? Oh God! It's the whole thing! I gotta save this for a cringe stream so we can watch the whole thing, right? Should we just have a whole day where we watch their different crucifixions? That might be a funny stream tomorrow. Bumble Homestead with 100 bits says, I cannot. Like, they have all of them. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they did a Star Wars one. They did Star Wars, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, The Holy Grail, Avengers, Toy Story. I don't know what that one is. That one I don't know, and that one's Lion King. Okay, we can do that. Nova with 100 bits. So, tomorrow, come to the stream because we're going to be doing all of these in a row. I don't know how many we'll get through. We might skip the ones I don't recognize. So it'll probably be, let's see, that's 40 minutes. We should be able to get through all the ones that I know what they are. So we'll do that tomorrow. Mr. Whisker says, bits to celebrate, finishing making dinner. Auntie Pretzel says, they speed ran cringe so fast that they went to plaid. Achievement unlocked. Cringe pladium. Bumble Homestead, thanks for gifting a sub. 61% to level 5. I can't believe, like, that's a thing. How weird.
I am Iron Man. Loki is beyond reason, but he is still of Asgard, and he is my brother.
He's killed millions of people.
He's adopted.
So
they're just literally stealing jokes from the movie. 61% to level 5 with a minute left.
Tony, how much should we get?
Procagom, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
Paid, eh?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's not really gonna work for me, eh? I got bills to pay.
I come with glad tidings of a world made free.
Well, free from what?
Freedom. Freedom is life's great lie. It's the
Oh, boo, it's not even the whole thing. Literally, it just segues into the sermon in a minute.
That, you know, for 60 years, I'm still preaching messages. I mean, you look at the
Fucker.
Russian
Play the whole thing, you cowards. Hold on, let me see if the other link does it. Why are they mixing Marvel and DC? Jokes. Why didn't that work?
have each one of the
Boo! Why aren't they all on here? This sucks.
Our star was there is some sense really come. And so
well, maybe we won't get to do that tomorrow. Because they're not actually posting, they're posting the sermons, not the whole stitches. Sketches, rather. Bullshit. That's the fun part. Got a half day at work, let's go.
He took him up to a high mountain.
That's a shame. That would have been too good. Anyway, to the conspiracy theories, since we're here. Since we're here. Let's see. What are we going to do first? We have tons of new conspiracy theorists. How about this gentleman? This is a guy by the name of B. Gade. Don't know his first name. Don't care. And this is his video on how NASA tricks us about gravity, apparently.
Who are the Moonies? The Moonies are people who believe that we did not go to the moon. Humans did not step on the moon. Now, I essentially believe that humans went to the moon. There are some issues that I cannot explain. So if a Moonie approaches me and says, well, Bill, explain this or explain that, there are some things I personally am not able to explain, okay? Does that mean that we should throw the baby with the wash water away and say, oh, that they never went to the moon because I can't explain this? And that's where I draw the line. You know, one thing is...
Well, that's good. He at least doesn't completely deny we went to the moon. I'll give him partial credit on that.
To say that I cannot explain certain things that I'm staring at. And another one is to think that because of that, you know,
I gotta put
man
on
did
my
not go to the moon.
tinfoil.
Okay, so
Sorry.
two different things. And we have all these people. One of them here, he says they can't see, they can't create the effects seen in the ISS footage using cinematic techniques. He's talking about, you know, what I showed you the other day, that the astronaut was floating in there and so on. And he says they can create that in the lab. They can do that in Hollywood. Okay, watch the movie Gravity. which I did, by the way, a while back, okay? And the mini does the, I guess, mini-series, does that explain how the microgravity scenes were achieved?
No, it doesn't. They went to space. They're in space. That's how they do the microgravity, because they're in space.
Okay, and so I went in there, and here's what I found, okay? This is the astronaut on the ISS. Okay, this is what I showed the other day, and you have this guy floating around. But I want you to see his little computer, his little palm top there. Okay, he's got it all over the place. It's just floating.
Palm top.
And this fellow says that, or believes that, this can be done in a lab, in a in a Hollywood studio or whatever.
Oh, good. Is he actually going to debunk other conspiracy theorists in this? It's funny because another video I saw of him, he was basically talking about how he doesn't think math belongs in science. He's a wacko, but at least he's trying to disprove these particular conspiracy theorists, which is interesting.
This is all done with green screen. Okay, now we can maybe imagine this fellow being floated by wires and doing all this. A little harder is to do what he's doing with that little computer. Okay, that's what I want you to see. Show me how that's done with so much sophistication. Here's this other astronaut. Okay, and she goes in there and she releases a drop of water, big drop of water, by the way. And she swallows it. And how do you do that trick with a drop of water? Okay.
Conspiracy theorists who don't believe that we've been to space or don't believe space exists would just say CGI. That's usually what they fall back to.
Don't tell me you don't believe it. Don't tell me this is done in a lab. Tell me how you do the trick, even in Hollywood. I mean, show me how that's done. And what I can show you is the following. Give me a second here. Let me get rid of this gal here. And here I have how they filmed. This fellow says, go watch Gravity and go watch how they filmed it. And here are snippets of how they filmed it, how they filmed this movie Gravity. The scenes that concern us here, okay? Here it is. Give me a second.
Extremely long shots. These very fluid 12-minute, 5-minute or 3-minute long shots. It took a while to work out.
Team and Chivo developed this.
And let me be clear, I don't want to denigrate the work done on Gravity, even though I don't really like that movie very much. Some of the effects in it look great. It's a movie that looks good, and clearly they put a lot of work and time in the visual effects of that film, but you can tell it's not real. I don't know how to put this other than, and I hate to use this as as an argument in any way, because you could say this about a lot of things and it's so subjective anyway, but it looks different than actual footage from the ISS because we've actually been to space and the ISS is a real thing.
This technology in which the actors are inside a cube of light.
The three main elements of the light box are the robot moving the camera, the light box moving the lights, and the tilt rig moving the actor.
That's interesting. I wonder if that was a similar rig to the newer thing that Disney now uses. They used it on The Mandalorian, and now they're going to be using it on their future productions where it's, I forget the name of it, but it's like a 360-degree wall that shows footage that links up with the camera and it parallaxes in real time, so it's almost like a live-action green screen. It's very interesting. Wonder if that light box thing was kind of an early version of that.
Okay, now that scene with the computer, the scene with the drop, first of all, you can't do that. I don't think you can do that at all in Hollywood, okay?
The volume, by the way, I gotta show this to you guys because it's cool, and I'm sure it'll come up in future conspiracy theories once more conspiracy theorists hear about it. The volume, screen. It's very, very cool how this thing works. It basically allows them to shoot scenes in real time in virtual environments and see how it's going to look. Mix Chloe B42, thanks for rating. Welcome, Raiders. I'm Hannah. I am a trans leftist streamer. Today we're talking about conspiracy theories and debunking them. It's something I do every Tuesday and other days of the week. So come hang out, play Tinfoil Tuesday Bingo. Go check out Mix Chloe B42's channel. And that's what we're doing. Welcome.
In this scene from Disney's The Mandalorian, the actors could see their surroundings, but the surroundings weren't actually there. All of this is just LED screens, displaying backgrounds pre-made in a video.
Like, this is insane to me that this is a thing that they can do. And obviously they touch it up afterwards with computers. I sound like an old person. They touch it up with the computers. I don't know how it works, but I don't. It's very, very cool though.
Video game engine. Compare that with this fight scene from Avengers Endgame, where actors jumped around in a sea of green, imagining how VFX artists would make this planet look once filming had ended. The Mandalorian is one of the first major productions to choose LED walls over green screens, and the benefits for the actors are just the tip of the iceberg. LED walls make the
wearing a lot of tinfoil. It's to protect me.
Lighting better, filming smoother, and in certain cases cost a lot less than using green screens. But to understand why the team behind The Mandalorian chose these LED screens, we have to understand just how they work. Mandalorian showrunner.
Anyway, those are very cool, and I fully expect conspiracy theorists to start using those as explanations for things. For instance, 2023, 2024, this keeps getting delayed, but we're supposed to go back to the moon. And I think that's probably going to happen this decade, if for no other reason than business interest. But either way, if we go back to the moon and get like HD 4K footage of people walking on the moon, I guarantee clips of The Mandalorian and other films being shot with that sort of screen are going to be touted out by conspiracy theorists trying to be like, well, they can make it look like The Mandalorian is on Tatooine. Of course they can make it look like people are on the moon. And we'll debunk that when we get to it. But I'm pre-debunking it in my head now, because I know I'm going to have to deal with it. It's the only way they could have Mando's armor be chrome. Worked out. Later this decade, you guess, you doubt it'll be in 2024. Yeah, I don't disagree. It was originally supposed to be 2023, but there have been some setbacks. I know this year they were supposed to do, I want to say in June. I'm not positive, though. I think they're supposed to do the test flight of the rocket itself, an unmanned first test. So we'll see how that goes and how smoothly everything goes forward with testing as it moves into the later stages of development. Hydrate will do. This guy believes that there's going to be a fake rapture. Whatever that means. So let's check it out.
Alright, this is a video. We're going to talk about the planned out fake rapture sometime in the future. Now, I believe it is 2031, and I'll show you a video why I believe that. I actually renamed my channel 2031 because of this knowledge. The Simpsons revealed that people are going to freak out during the...
Frankly, I get most of my beliefs about what's going to happen in the future from old episodes of The Simpsons. That's why I'm very, very interested in a business called Mr. Plow. I've invested heavily. If that doesn't pan out for me, it's not going to go well. Although, wait, in that episode, Homer's business doesn't go well in the end. Well, that's on me, not Matt Groening, so that money's gone. Tellurian Katrin says, celebration bits for you because I just restarted therapy and also appreciate weird Rapture content. Well, thank you.
Planned out war to China, World War China in 2031. But if you all want to know what the New World Order script is, just go watch Ken Peters' Vision Dream, I Saw the Tribulation. It is like an hour or two of just deception. This is actually the script. They're going to produce a fake rapture. They're going to have a super handsome, pretty boy.
How would that even work? As someone who used to be Christian, I can tell you, the rapture is supposed to take every Christian, every true Christian, whatever you think that means. It's usually whatever denomination you belong to. You believe that true Christians are going to ascend to heaven in the blink of an eye. Boom. Everyone disappears. Maybe you've seen the movie Left Behind. Pile of clothes. Everyone's going to nakedly teleport to heaven. Who's a true Christian. How do you fake that? Does the government have a weapon that's going to vaporize people based on their religious beliefs? But only them specifically, and it vaporizes all trace of them, but not their clothes. How is that going to work? I guess we'll find out.
Fake Antichrist figure. We already know years ago, eyewitnesses saw semi-trailers full of modern-day guillotines to cut people's heads off, you know, like a big...
Okay.
Counterfeit tribulation, already scripted, already planned out. Just go watch this video and you will see the...
His evidence is he's claiming someone saw a truckload of guillotines at some point. Was it just a tanky going to the meeting, preparing for when they think the revolution's gonna be? Like, what?
Big end-time deception. It's all scripted, planned out, because you are actually on the other side of the millennial reign of Christ, and we have scriptures to prove that you are on the other side of the millennial reign. Alright, so if you go over here, I made a video a couple years ago where Homer Simpson actually says, World War China. Let's see if I can play it.
Oh my god. Use OBS. He's literally capturing audio from his speakers.
Says, World War China. Let's see if I can play it. After World War China.
It's a joke. It's a joke from like season 28 of The Simpsons. So not even one of the good seasons.
2031, World War China. Alright, now
I predict that the United States is going to go bankrupt after someone swindles us into buying a monorail.
More very important knowledge. There's a guy that actually...
Some young prankster is going to steal the head of the statue of Abraham Lincoln at his memorial, and it's going to get people really upset.
Wrote a book where he can prove that EMPs are completely fake. Now, I figured this out a few years ago after...
He thinks EMPs are fake. Okay. This is a lot of things in one video. Lazy Paradox with 145 bits says, here's extra bits for the tanky dig. Nice.
I realized that nuclear weapons are a joke. They're fake. So
the night Dad went to jail? Hold on. Okay, wait. Okay. I don't mean to like get off track here. We're here for the conspiracy theories, but there's a book here that says the night Dad went to jail, and it looks like a children's book. And I would like to see what that's about. Is this like, how do you explain to your child that your husband got a DUI? The night Dad went to jail. What to expect when someone you love goes to jail? Oh, this is really sad. This is one of my before drawings. Before means before my dad went to jail. Dad and I didn't catch anything, but we found fun anyway. My dad calls me Sketch because I like to draw. Miss Sanchez, my school counselor, says drawing is a good way for me to show my feelings. I must have a lot of feelings. I draw all the time. Oh no. We were at Dad's apartment the night the police came. Lights flashed. Neighbors stared. The officer put my dad in handcuffs. Jasmine and TJ started crying. One of the officers walked over to us. I thought he was going to arrest us too, but he smiled and handed TJ a teddy bear. ACAB. Children's book ACAB. Oh no. I assume they're going to be vague about what the dad did because it's supposed to be for, you know, any situation. Oh, yikes. That's really sad. Tellurian Katrin says, someday after the show is canceled, Simpsons cults will start forming based on these predictions. Also, please tell me you've heard of the play Mr. Burns, a post-electric play. No, I don't think so.
If they fire, you know how they've programmed us, World War III, they're going to fire nuclear weapons above America and cause an EMP effect. And
probably not just above America. If a nuclear war were to happen, they wouldn't just be trying to EMP. They'd be trying to kill everyone.
Mess up everybody's electronics. Well, what's actually going to happen is the cell phone towers are going to send a powerful signal to all of your electronics, commanding them to erase themselves.
That doesn't really make sense because not every electronic device is connected to the cellular network. In fact, most of them are not. Like, my oven isn't connected to the cellular network.
Imagine you have
my refrigerator isn't. My freezer in the garage isn't. Like, these LED lights aren't. Most things I own that are electric are not connected to the cellular network in any way.
Cell phone. A signal is sent telling it to erase itself. Laptops. Brand new vehicles, that have GPS. Now, you have to keep in mind, the guy that has the older vehicle that has taken out the radio and the antenna, he has disabled the antenna, it would be impossible for that vehicle to receive a signal or...
Oh, this guy's crazy. He's definitely like, oh, what happened to your radio? I had to take out the radio because the government's going to shut down my car if I don't. With the cell phone towers. Hernandia Owl says EMPs would do far more to electronics than just erase data. Yeah.
Or command, telling the computer, the small computer inside, to erase itself. This guy is going to be driving around when everyone else will not.
That's not how anything works.
So remember, if you have a lot of pictures, digital pictures, and you're concerned that they might get erased on an old cell phone, you can burn those pictures or videos onto a disk on your computer, put it up on the shelf, and it will be just fine. The big fake EMP will not harm or damage your disk.
You know everything, eh? No, just know what conspiracies are true and not.
Disk.
I know the government isn't going to use the connector on your car to shut it off and fake an EMP.
All right, we're going to move along. So for all the people that you already know, you are on the other side of the millennial reign.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like a Y2K thing. Overthought says, you could totally mess with this man with simple graphing calculators. Just type in a simple message to him so he finds it in the morning and watch him freak out.
And you are being utterly deceived. I just want you all to know that there's a high possibility that George Washington never existed.
George Washington never existed? Not George Washington.
The reason why I believe that is because John Adams is actually the first president to occupy the White House.
The White House wasn't built yet.
Remember, if you were part of Club 33 and your job is to help the devil deceive all nations, how amusing would it be to have the first president a make-believe president?
That doesn't make any sense. This sort of thinking implies that there weren't any contemporaries to the forming of this conspiracy. Imagine one day you just have to convince the entire population, hey, we had a whole president before, and they go, no, we didn't. And you go, dang it, I didn't think about this. I only thought about this conspiracy in the past tense. That's not how anything works. Also, Club 33 is Freemasons, so you can mark off Freemasons on the bingo card. Death Guard Elite, thanks for 6 months.
So,
it did fool England, true.
Let's go through these pictures. Let's say that George Washington never existed. We already know that
George Washington is like a known historical figure that was like, we have his letters, I've been to his house, which was awful, by the way. Just dreadful. The slave quarters were disgusting. What else? He was instrumental in fighting the Revolutionary War. Like, we know George Washington existed. Like, he knew John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and these people. They were, like, working together. If he didn't exist, they didn't exist. Now, you can talk about, like, the mythologizing about him, the whole, like, oh, when he was a kid, he cut down a cherry tree and told his dad because, like, oh, he can't lie. That's bullshit. Of course that's bullshit. It's mythologizing, and a lot of the founding fathers have these, like, myths built around them that aren't necessarily true, but are more about, almost deifying, the people who founded the country. And that's untrue, but the real person, George Washington, existed. As much as we know anyone from history existed, we know George Washington existed. Stone Corbell says, that's pretty lame. If I want part of a global millennium-spanning cult that controlled the world, I can think of many things way more fun than making up a fake president. Agreed.
That president number 22, Cleveland, served 2 terms right over here. It's the same president, and there is a possibility that JFK, we can prove that his assassination is completely fake. It is a mannequin. For all the people that don't know, go watch the JFK assassination video.
I've seen it. It's TOS. I cannot play that, but I've seen it, and I've seen it stabilized. He's dead.
Slow motion.
He's very dead. Believe me, I've seen it.
It is a mannequin or a dummy, and it's like a tomato explodes off the side of its head. People believe it is like a movie
historicity
prop, something that just explodes. It's not natural or normal. So I'm going to say that somewhere in here, there's another president that deceptively served 2 terms, and my theory is this. Obama is number 40. He's president number 40. Donald Trump was 41. Joe Biden is 42. And that creepy evil woman, his vice president, who we believe Joe Biden will die in office, and then she will take over. She should be 43. And then Donald Trump should be scripted or scheduled to come back into office in maybe 2024. And then Ivanka Trump comes into office in 2028 as the last scripted president of the United States, or repackaged, renamed Egypt. This is actually the land of Egypt.
Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board. Keep going. No, you have my attention now. Please.
And yes, I just want you to know.
Procagom says, do we realistically have time to unpack all of this? Yes, I have all day.
Obama could be a clone of an ancient pharaoh.
Clones on the bingo card.
In the land of Egypt.
Couldn't be Tutankhamun. That guy had so many birth defects. Didn't he have like a really big foot or something? Am I misremembering that? Did King Tut have a huge foot?
I'm sure some of you might remember those videos years ago where he literally looks like an ancient pharaoh.
What? Is he saying this because Obama's black? Is this literally just... Wait a minute. This guy has a darker skin tone than the previous presidents. He must be an Egyptian pharaoh. Nerdandia says, of course, ancient Egypt.
For the evil that is ancient Egypt.
I like that bit from Lucara. But Disney.
And
Johnny Dice, thanks for 7 months, says, thanks for all the content, Hannah. Thanks for watching it. There wouldn't be content if you guys didn't watch it. Dr. Gamble says, I step away for 3 seconds.
People were questioning, who this guy really is. Oh, and I just want you all to know, The Simpsons revealed about 5 or 6 years ago that Ivanka Trump would come into office in 2028. And I believe she is the real 44, the last...
It's a joke! Why does he think The Simpsons is magic?
Scripted president of this country. Now, it really does make me wonder, if we go back to Revelation 20, where the devil, he's been let loose for a little while, or for a season, or a long season, if the end of the millennial reign was 1776... It really does make me wonder if somewhere around 2040, maybe 2041, 42 is actually the end when everything's all finished. Because you have to understand, the final prophecy involves a war with Gog and Magog, which I believe will be a counterfeit, or what they call World War III. And in order to lead up to that moment, they would have to go through a scripted or deceptive end time scenario, which should involve a fake rapture, a pretty boy handsome fake Antichrist figure.
Why are they faking the rapture? Matthew Star 86, thanks for 9 months. That's a sub baby. This sub baby's name is going to be Pharaoh Barak Tut. Stone Corbell says, it's true. The work which is a known holy scripture. The Simpsons revealed it to me. Old enough to know better now with 100 bits, says, I have to know, how many views does this insanity have? 14,000. Hydrate and Overthought says, how do you get out of a conversation with a right-winger? Start telling them a knock-knock joke. They'll go answer the door while you make your escape. Burn.
And, deceptive, just a complete counterfeit of what has already happened. Now, I did state this in a video a couple months ago or whatever. You all have to understand, if Satanic Hollywood and Nicolas Cage starts coming out with movies promoting the Rapture event, that's when, red sirens, red flags should be going up, and you need to question if you're being utterly deceived. Because what a lot of people cannot fathom or understand is they have the technology to actually mimic or counterfeit or deceive people into believing the rapture has just taken place.
How? The rapture involves like 1 billion people disappearing instantly. Gregory Term says, I've been working on some eye candy for my players. Here's what I've got going. I can trigger the steps all at once or manually. Let's take a look. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. See, I really like the video stuff. I want to get one of those, like, video tables for D&D. They're really cool.
And something else we need to remember, that movie from 2005, War of the Worlds, go back and watch it. Pay very close attention, because the aliens make rapture sounds, horns. Listen to that.
I haven't read War of the Worlds, so I can't say as to whether or not that is based in anything from the story that was written. H.G. Wells? Did H.G. Wells write War of the Worlds? But either way, it's just an unsettling, unworldly noise. That's why they make the tripods do that.
Those sounds are similar to what people have heard or captured in the atmosphere in the last 10 or 11 years. So they may fake a rapture, then have Project Bluebeam with holograms, UFOs, so that the Christians that do have eyes to see and ears to hear, they will believe they're covering up the rapture with this alien invasion, when in actuality it's like a double deception. Now, I do believe the proper deception, since Club 33 loves to mock the masses anyway, I believe the proper deception should be these aliens live or came from the deep caverns of Uranus.
I'm good. Nope, I'm not gonna give you that bingo space. Nope. I'm good.
And you can see right here, this is the caverns deep down in Uranus. So if they do produce Project Blue...
No, I'm good.
Beam, holograms.
Procagom says, what's this about Uranus?
In the atmosphere, UFOs. This would be the proper storyline to mock the masses. Now, I do got to let you know, about a month or so ago, I was doing more investigation on all the fires and all the cities in this land that got renamed USA. And believe it.
No, Nandy Owl says, no, that's nonsense. The aliens will be from Comet D's. Gregory Term says, it literally says Martian cave entrance on the image. And Bittergrin says, but Uranus is nothing but gas. There are no caves.
Believe it or not.
And then Daddy Sume says, there's only one cave in Uranus, and it's rather long and full of semen. There's lots of gas there, though. Maps and Mimics says, if Uranus is so gross, why do they take HD photos of it? I'm good.
There was a massive fire in the city of Fargo in the 1800s. Not only that, there was a strange, unexplainable fire in Minneapolis in the same year. And I also found unexplainable fires in Seattle.
Maps and Mimics says, we will break you. Only Baja's allowed to break me. Hydrate.
And I mean, if you just keep investigating, I mean, it is insane. I mean, I don't see how anyone could even deny you are the generations after the millennial reign. Now, I do have to encourage everyone, if you have not watched this video, go to Hacking the Headlines channel. It's maybe 20 videos back. It's called, Is This Proof Armageddon Has Already Happened? This guy right here, More Than a Flame. We need to have a moment of silence for him. He is no longer on YouTube. He has, I guess, deleted his channel.
Is that what moments of silence are for, when someone deletes their YouTube channel? Daddy Sume says, patient, doctor, am I going to be all right? Doctor, I'm not sure. Mercury is in Uranus now. Patient, but I don't know how much about astronomy and space. Doctor, neither do I, but I do know that my thermometer just snapped inside of you. Lady Necro says, if you ask nicely, you could even get a tossed salad there. Will, I am not okay with a link.
Really, Commander? Probing Uranus. Probe away.
That XY girl says, if you want, you can call it Georgium Sidus, as did the British. I don't get it.
And it is very upsetting because this guy was on a level of knowledge and understanding that I've never really seen anyone on YouTube with that kind of understanding. Very intelligent guy. He's the one. This is actually the video where I soon realized that
don't go to YouTubers for information. It's one thing if so, like, let's say someone's a doctor or has a doctorate in a specific field and they make YouTube videos. That's okay. Or like if a lawyer makes videos about law specifically, you should still take all those things with a grain of salt. But like, you know, these are professionals who are making YouTube videos. If someone is a YouTuber, don't listen to them about things. I'm including myself in this. This channel's for entertainment purposes only, whether on Twitch or YouTube.
After the millennial reign, they're not going to know they're the generations after. That is the whole foundation of the deception. That is how the devil
Georgium Sidus is Uranus's dead name. Good for Uranus.
And his Club 33 will deceive the nations. They're going to think they are in a time frame of history that they're not. So maybe someday, you know, he will return to YouTube, get a group of people, and create a fascinating documentary on the whole millennial reign. Because I think it would just be the greatest thing to have, you know, some kind of professional documentary where you could go challenge any minister with the scriptures and with the breathtaking millennial reign buildings and just literally demolish a lot of these, you know, worthless ministers. There is a lot of ministers out in this country. They have no anointing.
Isn't Uranus a gas giant? I believe so, but I also think in the War of the Worlds, because we didn't know that at the time when that was written, they said they came from caverns in Uranus. So, that's where he's getting that.
They're kind of lazy.
Wait, did they say they were from Mars, actually? Did they say they were from Mars in War of the Worlds? Either way.
They produce a generic...
Yeah, I don't know where he's getting Uranus from then.
Simple message, and then, you know, they expect people to give their tithe, and it's just this routine. You walk in to this church, there's no presence of the Lord, there's no anointing, and you walk out the same. But at least with that kind of documentary, you could ruffle their feathers. So I do want to give a moment of silence for this guy, very intelligent person. I hope he returns to YouTube someday. Now, before I end the video, I do have to let you know there are hints and clues. I've seen in the last 10 years the 9/23, September 23rd. In fact, I actually believe September 23rd, 2031 is the scripted fake Rapture. If you go and watch this movie Deep Impact, do you see the hidden 9 right here? This is a 23. This is a hidden 9. And what's so important, 23 plus 21 just happens to be 44. Remember, Ivanka Trump should be the last president. I believe she is the real,
according to The Simpsons.
44, and this fake Rapture event will happen during her administration. In the 4 years or the 8 years that she is in there, this massive, this epic production
numerology
will
is
happen
evidence
under her administration. See that? 44, and you have a hidden 9 in front of the 23 because it's most likely going to happen September 23rd. But anyway, if anyone has any good knowledge, good theories, anything that can help us outsmart the New World Order or Club 33, definitely leave a comment under the video.
Oh boy, okay, I love this guy already. Okay, alright. I think we found another good one, guys. I think we found a good one. Oh. Let's check the bingo card. We can keep him. Illuminati Freemasons. I would say only reputable source is the Bible, but he also thinks The Simpsons is a reputable source, so clones, indeed. Numerology. Oops. Accidentally resizing that. The Simpsons are basically the Bible. True. Does Simpsons count for ancient wisdom? You know, maybe if it was in the first 5 seasons, but he was referencing season 28. Science fiction is fact? Yeah, I'll do that for The Simpsons. I was able to keep it together, so no Hannah dies of laughter. I think that's it. Cool. Cleanse? What is it?
Despídete, Chubu, y dile, nos vemos más tarde.
Él la detiene y la asfixia con amor cada vez que intenta pasar a su lado.
Despide de ella dramáticamente como si...
Look at the sloth! I gotta mute it, because usually they get the music on these videos. What a cute baby. Friends with the dog. Very cute. Aww. Is Antichrist stuff satanic? See, he said it would be fake Antichrist, so I'm gonna say that doesn't count. Because he's not saying it's real, he's saying it's fake. Someone new or Chris? Chat, should we look at someone new? Because we have plenty. Or should we look at Chris? People are saying new. Cool. Behind the imaginary curve. Here he is. He's gonna be chatting with some people, or at least one guy, about Flat Earth. So Flat Earth on the bingo card.
Hiya, thank you. What's your name, sorry?
Moss and Lagana.
Hi, I'm Dale. How you doing, man?
Nice to
All
meet
right?
Can I ask you, are you studying here at the university?
I am.
Can I ask you what you're studying?
I'm doing MSc Investment Analysis.
Right.
Ooh, Google is having a tough time with their accents.
Okay. Can I ask you, do you like science? Are you quite scientifically minded?
I do like science, but I wouldn't say I'm the brightest, so I'm probably not that scientifically minded.
I love natural science.
Okay.
If I describe natural science as observable, measurable, testable, repeatable, would you agree that that's the core of science?
Yes.
Yes, it has to be fit that.
I like that the guy literally just said that he's not good at science, and now he's going to use this guy as a litmus test for how good he is at science. Like, the guy already admitted he doesn't know science things.
Right, or else we wouldn't have the technologies we have, you know.
That's true.
So if I was, would you say this was science?
Argonian Bub says, I need subtitles for this, and also Train Spotting.
Then, if I was to
Train Spotting's a great movie.
show you this.
Haven't seen the sequel.
Hang on. If I was to show you that image, which is of, you know, Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, and I says, look, there's my proof that Nessie is real, would you accept that as scientific fact that Nessie was actually real?
No.
You wouldn't? No. Do you accept that as scientific proof that the Earth is a ball?
Are there literally hundreds of thousands of images of Nessie corroborated by scientists saying that is what this is? Then in that case I would. But that's not the case with Nessie, and it is with the Earth.
You've got a point with the photos. I think they have sort of tested that, haven't they? There's like lots of different studies. I'm not aware of them, but they've tested that, haven't they?
Well, just on a one-to-one, if we don't use a logical fallacy and invoke powers and authority, if we just keep it one-to-one. So the point being that if I made a claim to you...
Lazy Paradox says, I have a question, Hannah. Some of these ideas that these conspiracy theorists think up in the hands of better writer could be great stories. So if you're a writer and run into these videos, is it morally wrong to take some of these ideas for yourself? The various alien conspiracy theories come from somewhere, and it's been used in different media, so where's the line? I would say it's fine. As long as you're not, like, directly plagiarizing someone, ideas are... Like, general ideas aren't... How do I put this? Like, you can copyright, or you could, now it's in the public domain, but you could copyright Sherlock Holmes, who lives at 221B Baker Street with James Watson, and they solve mysteries together. You can't copyright the idea of a guy in England solving mysteries using deduction. You know what I mean? If you see someone with an interesting concept in a conspiracy theory, then you could use that as long as you do stuff with it and tell your own story with it. You'll be fine.
You know, I could bring you an image, but you could...
John Watson. Did I say something other than that? Wait.
I don't really trust the image because it's not really scientific, is it? Because I could show you Superman and say, there's Superman's real, you know. So, I mean, even at that image, do you think that image looks real?
I like the implication that the only reason we think the Earth is round is because we have photographic proof of it from space. No, we knew the Earth was round a lot longer from before we sent stuff into space far enough away to see the shape of the Earth.
No.
I called him James, maybe because I'm thinking of Jim Moriarty. I don't know.
Not really.
Right, okay, so that's fine. This is actually an official NASA image, by the way. So, based on that, right, so we've established that, you know, we can't accept images as being scientific because they can be manipulated.
That's true, yeah.
So, based again on natural science, can I ask you, when you look out at the horizon, what shape is the horizon?
It appears to be flat.
Appears to be flat.
Appears is kind of the important word in that sentence.
I said to you that it is a fundamental fact of reality that water does not conform to the exterior of shapes. Water will take the shape...
Wait, is there someone who's claiming to be a flat earther in chat? If so, you want to come on and talk?
...of any container, any receptacle that it's in, but the surface from one end to the other will always be at the same elevation. And you would never have convexity in a body of water. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. So that's just saying that it's flat no matter where it's contained. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
So we know that that's an observable.
Oh, some guy claimed that most photos of planet Earth aren't actually photos, just animations. Some of them are. That's not entirely untrue. There are actual photos from space that we have, though. Many of them are composites, but regardless, we know the shape of the Earth.
Measurable fact of reality that that's how liquids behave upon Earth.
Yeah.
So knowing that one simple fact of reality, do you believe?
Oh yeah, composite doesn't mean fake, but flat earthers think it does because they're trying and stretching for reasons to be contrarian to the entire scientific and rational community.
You live on a globe. We know that the horizon's always flat. We know that water is always level.
I'm out of my depth there, isn't it?
Like, the guy is literally admitting that he's not into science and doesn't know anything.
Right. We got embarrassed about this. But
if you ever meet a flat earther, you'll just say gravity to them over and over. Yeah. Most of the answers to the things they ask is gravity, and then they go, I don't believe in gravity, and you go, well, don't know what to tell you then. You're intentionally ignoring the thing that explains your questions.
I'm not embarrassed for me, I'm embarrassed for you, because I need to go to this length to show you how ridiculous the idea that you live on a spinning ball actually is. Me standing in the pissing rain, getting soaking wet, you make the point. Hope you appreciate this. Okay, found this shape.
Oh, he's gonna do the thing! He's gonna do the thing. Oops, it's round Earth in a single photograph. Darn it. You got us again, NASA. Hold on, he's gonna do the stupid thing. He's gonna do the dumbest thing.
Of the ball Earth with the oceans removed. Okay? Let's try this.
He couldn't have even inflated it? Not that it's gonna matter to the results, because this is a stupid experiment that doesn't take into account the fact that gravity is the effect of masses on other mass, and the ball does not have a large enough mass to make water stick to it, considering it's right next to a much larger mass, the Earth, which is going to pull it stronger. If you were in space, it might be okay. Genuinely. If you were in space, you could probably get water to stick to the ball. But you're not. You're on Earth. The Earth is the strongest thing in terms of gravity because its mass is the biggest thing around you at all times.
I don't know what's happening, but it doesn't appear to be filling up to the shape of the ball. It seems to be running off the bottom here. I'll try this. Look. Again, it's running off the sides. I can't get
Yeah.
the mound up to the shape of
It's
the
running off the sides directly towards the larger mass adjacent to it that's drawing it towards it via gravity. The ball Earth!
But I don't know why.
The irony of this, like, genuinely, the cosmic irony of this man spraying a tiny ball with water and being like, it won't stick to it! Meanwhile, the water is literally running off and sticking to the much larger ball that we are all living on is hilarious to me. It's not sticking to the ball, isn't it? It is. It's sticking to the ball underneath the ball you're using.
Spin it.
Aye.
Give it a spin. How about you? Right, let's see. Go. It appears that the water seems
Good
to
little
be running
spin there.
off the side, finding its own level again. But we'll give something else a try, yeah? Should we go for this? Should we go for this here?
I don't know if you should blame the British. He's clearly either from the North or Scottish. I don't know which. I can't differentiate between a Northern accent and just like a Scottish accent, so I don't know which. Nope, nopey nope, thanks for 3 months. Gitara says he's not accounting for the ice wall. I I know Scotland is part of the UK, but they were saying Britain. Britain's different than Scotland. Both are part of the UK.
It would appear that there seems to be more level on this side here. I'm thinking maybe gravity.
Scott and Northern accents are very different. I'm sure they are. I just said I can't detect a difference. I didn't say there isn't a difference.
There's this side to this side. Or maybe it's just because it's on uneven ground. We'll try this, see what happens. Oh, oh, oh. And now you can see that it tilts it, finds its own level.
And now it's sticking to the earth, which is a ball. Great.
What about this here? Some objects here. Different things. I don't know if you can see this here, but these objects here seem to have fell out.
You thought Britain was England, Scotland, and Wales. You know what? Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just thinking of English. I know there's all sorts of nomenclature for specific different groupings of places within the UK. I don't know them off the top of my head. I apologize.
Gravity doesn't like them because they seem to be floating. Now, is it either gravity doesn't like these objects, or is it because maybe these objects are less dense, so they float?
The Earth is flat, donkey.
It's an idea.
Hmm.
You know. We'll try something else.
It's bad that my pop cultural brain goes to Shrek.
What about this? It would appear that it's running off here, finding its own level and spilling away again. What can I say? I don't know what else to say to you about that. Do you really think that this...
Dr. Gamble says, whiny kid's voice, Mom, Uncle Jim is doing the thing with the water again.
This is the ocean here, and if I take the side away, the water will stay on the ball here. You know, you really think that the oceans are like this? You know,
yeah, they are.
Upside down with it. It's like this, and
there's no upside down in space.
Boats
so they're not upside down.
Can run here and hang upside down in the water that all just sticks to that. I mean, does it get any more ridiculous than that? Does there need to be any other argument? No. If you want to find out where we live, how does water behave? Finds its own level. Therefore, the Earth is flat. Simple. Okay? I don't know if you can see this up here as well. We've got these things called gutters on the top of the houses. Okay? So that when the rainwater runs off the top of the houses, it goes into these gutters and it finds its way to a point where it drains away. I don't know what...
Yeah, it's trying to find its way to the ground because water is trying to find its way, like everything is, to the closest it can get to the center of the Earth, because it's the center of mass of the object we're standing on.
Why doesn't it just mound up on top of the gutters or mounds up on top of the roof? You know? That's it. There's no argument. The Earth's flat.
Good God, this guy's bad, even by flat earther standards.
What we've experienced throughout...
Oh God, don't use another brick in the wall for this. Is that another brick in the wall part 2? We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. Alright, that's enough of this guy for now. Let's see what Cece's been up to, shall we? It's been clear days recently, and Chris is under the impression that that means that they've taken a vacation from, well, I guess you'll see.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be.
I believe the only new things we have on the bingo card are Flat Earth.
See here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 4/29/22. Do you see this? Do you see this? Look at this. These have been clear blue skies for the last 2 fucking days.
Yep, That'll happen sometimes, Chris.
It's shocking. Shocking, I have to say. I don't think we've had 48 hours of straight, clear blue skies and no chemtrails.
Chemtrails on the bingo card. They're not chemtrails, Chris. They're either contrails or they're just clouds. I've literally seen Chris look at clouds before and go, those are chemtrails, even though they're clearly clouds.
In ages. I can't remember the last time. It's always, you take a day
Clearly those chemtrails are clouds, Chris.
off here, they chemtrails tomorrow, or they'll chemtrail, but 2 solid fucking days. I told you a while back, the time that they stop chemtrailing us is the time to start worrying, because now it looks, well, I could be wrong, but...
Well, isn't that just a brilliant worldview? That way, if it's cloudy outside or you see contrails, you can say, nefarious, they're chemtrailing us, even though they're not. And then when it's clear outside, you can look out, and say, nefarious, they're not chemtrailing us. It's too quiet. That way, your beliefs are never falsified. What a nice little bubble to live in. Nanania Owl says, almost like you don't get a lot of contrails when the weather is clear.
Not having them spray for 2 solid days straight and clear blue skies is very unusual here in New York. You almost never see that. You get 1 day here, 1 day there, but never 2 days in a row of just absolutely gorgeous, weather. But I did say, when they stop doing it and when they stop spraying, they're up to something. I don't know what it is, but it seems like they might be up to something. I was thinking about the summer before Flat Earth. I got into it around October 4 or 5 years ago. And
would I interview CC if I had the chance? Oh yeah, I've asked him before. He never responds to me.
Maybe it was 4.5 years ago. I don't know, but I remember the month. It was the month of October. I was flipping through FE videos. At that time, you could find them. You can't find shit anymore now. Now you find discs in space of Earth.
Chris, if you want to find Flat Earth videos on YouTube, all you have to do is type Flat Earth or something similar, and then search by newest added. That's all you gotta do. I find them all the time. Honest Noir says he's afraid of you because you're lizard people. That's prejudiced. Siberian Winter says, as someone who lives in the same general areas, Chris, I can confirm he's full of shit. We get extended periods of clear weather in spring. Yeah, like a lot of people. It's almost like Chris is cuckoo bananas.
Stupid nonsense like that to deter people from actually looking at it. But the fact that they're even doing that they can even give a shit about Flat Earth, is enough to even tell you, hey, wait a minute. Why are they suppressing all the Flat Earthers? Why? Why would they be doing that if we're all a bunch of stupid idiots that don't know what the hell we're talking about?
It's almost like disinformation is harmful. Crazy.
Why, oh why, may I ask? Well, they've been suppressing us. They took the scoreboard off. We did that. That was a scoreboard that was on YouTube that told you how many people were viewing a particular video. Yeah, well, that was down years ago.
What? The view counts are still publicly available. They got rid of dislikes, which I think is stupid, and that wasn't for flat earthers. That was for advertisers. But view counts have never not been public. What?
You see, the summer
I can
before
literally see this video has 848 views.
Or Flat Earth, I was indoctrinated. And I was just like you, if you're not into Flat Earth. I didn't know anything. Really didn't pay attention to the stars, didn't pay attention to NASA, didn't do anything, really. Just lived my life thinking that it would be getting, better, or my break would come and we'd all become millionaires or something. Or I don't know what the hell I was thinking back then, but just living your life day to day. You're just the same old grind, not doing anything, not researching, not doing shit.
This just makes me really sad that it seems like he felt some sort of deep emptiness in his life and no, like, prospects for the future. And he ended up turning to Flat Earth to fill that with something. Even if it was fake, at least it was hope towards some sort of change, towards some sort of upward mobility for him in any way, shape, or form. How depressing.
And here I am. Well, also, I was flipping through YouTube videos, and I came across Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer. They were doing, well, they used to do...
Mark Sargent, famous from his Flat Earth Clues series. He was in that Netflix documentary, Behind the Curve.
A Halloween kickoff thing, shall we say. That was around the time that I got into it. It was around Halloween. Somewhere around October, end of October, beginning of November. And I spent the rest of that year trying to figure out why they would do something like this, why they would hide such an important thing like Flat Earth from us. Why would they do that? Why would they hide? And then it didn't occur to me that for 500 years now we've been living
like the government isn't above conspiracy. Did I say that? Who hurt you? Please come on and talk to me. I'll talk about whatever conspiracy theory you want to. It'll be fun. You can come and have an audience of 300 people. Would you like to?
Under this, ball that they made up out of nowhere to make you feel insignificant. And then I thought about God. Somebody created all of this. And then the two came together, and then I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense why they would be hiding something like this. The money at first wasn't really, I wasn't concerned about that. I didn't know how much NASA was taking out of our pockets.
NASA's budget is a rounding error in terms of the U.S.'s spending. If he actually cared about the U.S. budget, he would take a look at the military spending.
I didn't know anything. It was another rabbit hole I went down. And then another rabbit hole I went down. And then another one. And then another one. And then mud flood. And then finding out that civilizations actually existed here prior to us. And it was...
I mean, civilizations existed prior to us in terms of, like, the United States or the UK or wherever. But what are you talking about, Chris? Like, what? Are you talking... He's not talking about indigenous people groups in the United States. He's talking about crazy Babylonian shit. And not the real, like, Babylon, but, like, he thinks Babylon was also in the United States or Tartaria or one of these fictional civilizations.
Wasn't the Egyptians or any bullshit like that. You can call them whatever you want, but they were actual civilizations. And there's actual leftover artifacts that are still here. I'm sure they're trying to explode all of them to get rid of them, to hide it from us, I'm sure. Like, for example, they were ripping up the Selma River Parkway. They still are, actually. They're redoing it in one spot. And I've noticed the cement that they're picking up, because they just layer it on top of layers is basically how they fix streets around here. They put a little Band-Aid on it, and the fucking pothole's still there, but it's just got a little Band-Aid. It'll come back in 6 months. And anyway,
I didn't see that Spirit Science video. Maybe we'll have to watch it sometime.
It was almost like the sawmill was always there, for some strange reason. Because they went all the way down, and it was like it looked like a different type of cement or something that they used.
It probably was, Chris. Do you think they've used the exact same cement for however many decades they've been laying it down in that location? You're talking about a place in New York. They've been repairing roads there for a while. Narnia Owl says, now he just sounds like Peter, just blindly believing any old conspiracy he hears now that he's fallen for the first big one. Yeep. Who Hurt You says, U.S. relied on Russians to get to orbit. We're to believe they went to the moon prior? Yes, because the U.S. stopped funding its programs and retired the shuttles. Yeah, again, please come on. We can talk about this like adults.
That they don't use. I mean, I think the first type of layering that we put on the street was that brick layering, the cobble, you know what I'm talking about, the cobblestone thing. They still have them like in Nantucket and stuff like that. I think that's what we had initially, but it was almost like it was totally different. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but anyway, who knows? Did these highways exist from another civilization? Possibly. I don't know. Who knows?
No.
I mean, why wouldn't mud flood cover it?
Mud flood's not real.
Probably, did. I don't know. It covered pretty much everything that you see. Everything where you go, there's mud everywhere throughout.
There's mud everywhere. Checkmate, non-mud floodists.
Not the entire world. They're artifacts, even here in New York.
Okay, who hurt you? You have one more message to either agree or disagree to talk with me, and if you disagree, you're banned. You're banned. Because if you're just going to come in and take pot shots and say a bunch of ridiculous shit in my chat, you're either going to defend it with your mouth, or you're banned. Okay? Glad we're on the same page.
They're artifacts. They're castles that are hidden. Sorry, it's been windy like this for like fucking, I don't know, like a week and a half now. But we've never had these clear blue skies like this before. Not a single cloud in it. I mean, it's just incredible.
And that's a ban. Ban that fucker.
I haven't seen this in a long time. 2 straight days of just gorgeousness.
Thank you.
We'll see what it's like tomorrow. I'll give you a little,
Yeah, let's just take little fucking jabs in chat and say ridiculous shit. But I'm not gonna get on and actually talk about it or provide evidence. I'm just asking questions, bro. Get fucked.
video, and we'll take a look. Maybe they'll just chemtrails to death all day tomorrow. So, I came across Mark Sargent, Patricia Steer. I never went down Eric Dubé. I didn't even really know of him for like 2 years, I think it was, when I was into Flat Earth.
That must have been a nice 2 years.
I listened to him for a couple of minutes, and you can see he's just reading shit off of a script, so I didn't really care for him much, so I just continued looking and searching and getting into contact with people and talking to them about it. Sharing videos with them, doing conferences, no, not conferences, but doing video chats and stuff like that. Now I never thought I'd be going down all of these rabbit holes that put you in areas that, I never even really wanted to know about Hollywood. I never understood why child actors would destroy their lives,
Unfortunately, some of it because they suffered a lot of abuse at the hands of people in the industry, or they had shitty parents, or they had their childhoods taken away from them by being forced to work all the time as a kid, or they were in such if you're talking about Disney kids especially, they're put in such tight little boxes of what they're allowed to do and experience as children that once they get let out of that as adults, they go wild and way overcorrect.
They're a child actor, they're very successful.
No, I wouldn't say him doing outside necessarily means his wife hates him on the bingo card.
They're 15 years old, they're a household name. And then when they get into their 20s, something goes wrong. They get into drugs, they get into something, and they just...
It's hilarious, too, that conspiracy person in chat was like, so much for freedom of speech. I literally invited for you to come on. I literally invited you to come on and talk. And then you refused. You don't want freedom of speech. You want freedom to just post nonsense and bad faith in the chat, so fuck off.
Just wreck their lives. I never understood that, I always thought maybe because they were just rich and successful, and drugs was the way that's the path they decided to go through because they had so much money, but it wasn't. It wasn't, and it occurred to me with Hollywood that all child actors go through this. They're used, okay? Some are even abused, but they're used. And when Hollywood's finished with you, you're finished. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, okay? Hollywood's bad.
All right, you've served your purpose. You've indoctrinated a whole generation of kids. We don't need you anymore.
Not in the way he's saying, but Hollywood is bad. It is a system that chews people up and spits them out. I don't disagree.
We're working on somebody else. We got somebody else here. That's basically the end conversation that Hollywood has with you. Okay? Or they just don't call you anymore and you don't get any more jobs.
Probably more that one.
And that's why they head for drugs. Okay? And that's every child actor is like that. Same with the adult actors. They're there to be used to indoctrinate a whole generation of people. That's all that's their purpose. Their purpose isn't to teach you anything, it's just to indoctrinate you. That's it. Same with the baseball players. They're all watching.
Indoctrinate you into watching the Disney Channel. That's about it, though.
Up. Models, same with them. You know, it is such a corrupt job to have, and it's.
I'm sad as a kid I never got to do that thing. I'm Hannah Reloaded, and you're watching the Disney Channel, and then you do the thing. Bum 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 bum. That's a shame. Meek says, I remember in an old Ask Jake, Jake said he's alpha, but you're so much more. No wonder trolls won't ever talk to you.
It's sickening, really.
Here's the thing about people who come into chat and just, like, do little, like, bad faith jabs and stuff. I think it's a bad call because no matter what, they look bad. If I invite them on and they refuse to come on, then they look like an asshole, because they're an asshole. If they do come on, like, I don't consider myself all that intelligent, necessarily. I'm very middle of the road in terms of, like, reasoning ability, I think. But I'm pretty good at articulating myself when I want to. If I'm having a bad ADHD day, less so. But, you know, I've been talking on camera for, like, a decade, okay? I can make a point. I can say things in such a way that people think it's either funny or interesting or whatever, at least a good 30% of the time, you know? A little self-deprecation goes a long way. So anyone who comes on, unless they're also someone that talks a lot for a living, you're gonna look like an idiot. You're gonna look like an asshole. So don't even try. Nernandia says, plus you know their playbook well enough. Yeah. Gitara says, that's right, Cece, we should tell everyone the truth. I'm this close to going on the radio and letting the world know about Scorpzilla. Hey, that stays between us and Mud Fossil Man, okay? The world isn't ready to learn about Scorpzilla. Mr. Whiskers says 33% of the time. It works every time.
Okay. And I didn't realize it was that bad until I actually started researching it, you know? I mean, they'll keep these old singers like Madonna.
Do I think he would talk to a therapist or just yell at them? I don't believe Chris probably believes in therapy. Unfortunately, I imagine he's someone like my father, who I don't talk to anymore, who doesn't believe mental health is a thing, which is just an astounding, ridiculous thing to believe.
Around and
especially considering he's got a lot of stuff going on.
All that stuff, but they're basically washed up too. But they made their money. They don't care, you know. Maybe they were smart and they saved it instead of spending it on $150 million mansions. But you know, and it goes all the way down every aspect of business. You know, suspiciously, this woman who's 33 years old just happens to be the president of a big corporation. Come on.
What is he talking about?
Come on, guys. All right. Really? They're chosen. Whether you like it or not. And that's just the way it is. It's a fucking tragedy, you know, that everything is like this. That they had to hide everything from us to make you think you're insignificant, you know, that there is no God.
Elizabeth Holmes. That's actually interesting because Elizabeth Holmes was a con artist. Wouldn't he be like, oh yeah, that's good that she got caught then? If he's talking about Theranos, did he not hear about Theranos?
There's just an accident in science that you're here, but meanwhile, that's not the truth. They want to break that away from you. They want you to be scared, and they don't want you to know what your potential is, and they don't want you to know what you can do. And that's the reason why they've done all of this, and they'll continue doing it as long as they can.
Wait, is this Ram guy also a troll?
And for those who are too stubborn to look at it, then just go back to your life and just ignore it, you know, because That's how you're going to be the rest of your life. You're going to go...
Yes and no. Do you want to come on and talk about anything, Ram Guy? I could be your therapist in a non-legally binding way.
To your grave thinking that we live on a spinning wet ball.
Yeah, I saw the Weird Al movie trailer. It looks cute. It'll probably be fine.
And that is a fucking tragedy. It really is. Every time I hear a death at these nursing homes that I go to, I'm like, oh, God, I'm not...
You like your therapist? That's good. How you doing? Well, what's your issue, Ram?
The one who didn't know the truth, you know? Well, they're gonna know it now, but that's my belief. You go back, you don't
You were
die.
born? Same.
You know, it's something they have to do, you know? Small group of people are running it. As George Carlin said, you'll never meet them. And that's absolutely true.
If George Carlin had lived long enough to see the resurgence in flat earthers, he would have eviscerated you. Don't get that man's name out of your mouth.
But that's how it is. The people that are running this world, they don't want you to know. You know, they blame it on the Rothschilds. They blame it on, you know, the Rockefellers or something like that. But they're higher ups than them. That's who's running all of this. Okay? You can go to the Vatican, wherever you want to start. Who the fuck knows? It doesn't make a difference. It's a small...
Seems like it would make a difference. Miss K says, Cece could have done amazing things with hair like that, but he chose this path. It's true.
Whole group of people. And there are billions of us. Well, supposedly, I don't know if that's even true. But...
Oh, good. He doesn't know how many people are on the Earth. Awesome.
You know, whatever. And that's the long and short of it. Whatever you want to take it as, but these are the avenues you're going to go through. These are the avenues that you're going to, you know, look.
Anti Pretzel says, joke's on you, CC. This shadowy they you're talking about is actually just me. Anti Pretzel. It's true.
And you're going to go down each rabbit hole and you're going to figure out things, and when you do, all of us flat earthers will be here, and we're a big growing group of people.
Not true. Flat Earth peaked in 2017.
That are doing conferences, that are doing meetups, that are doing debates, and it's just like, it's just no debating this anymore, you know? I mean, there's no curvature, there's no pictures of Earth that are real, you know?
Yes, there are.
There's no satellites out there.
There are.
The only satellites that are up there held up with a balloon. There's no...
That's not what a satellite is.
Satellite TV. That's all bullshit. That's just another way of getting you to spend money to make you think that it's so expensive to have satellite TV. Meanwhile, it only costs...
Satellite TV is interesting. I had satellite TV growing up. Got quite a few channels. It was all right. It's real, Chris. It's real.
It's like fucking, I don't know, a couple of $1,000s to put up a fucking satellite with a balloon? They want to make you think it costs millions of dollars to launch something up into space?
Because it does.
It's not even in space. There is no space.
There is space.
Space?
The Playboy channel? Actually, yes. When I was younger, when I was in my pubescent years, there would be free weekends for different channels like HBO or Stars or Cinemax or some of the other channels, you know. So, yeah, we did have those channels from time to time.
Sex, another joke.
Will I Am Not Okay says, sucked when it rained though. Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Nobody's going anywhere. Nobody ever will. There's rovers over there.
Oh, I know you were joking. I gave you an honest answer to the joke, though.
Rovers over here. They're all fake pictures. They're all CGI bullshit. They're in some desert somewhere. Could be anywhere. Hell, it could be in the, right here.
I'll always remember, and this is funny, because I've always found bad movies to be really funny. There was some sort of, like, Cinemax tier softcore porn or something that was on one time when I must have been like 14 or 15, I don't know. And I had a TV in my room that I bought myself with my money that I had saved up. So I had cable in there, rather the satellite TV. So one night I stayed up really late and that was on. My parents were already asleep, so I watched that, and I kept watching it just the whole way through just because it was so bad. It was hilarious. And the whole movie ended, the premise was, it was these women who were all like scientists or something, looking for this like really rare gorilla, and they were looking for the gorilla, and then sexual stuff happened, and then at the end of the movie they find the gorilla, but the gorilla has like psychic powers. And by the way, the gorilla is just a guy in the worst gorilla suit you've ever seen. It's terrible. Like, it's so clearly a guy in a gorilla suit, which, like, is good considering what's about to happen. And he hypnotizes those women, and that guy in a gorilla suit, banged them all. And that was the end of it. So, Scorptane, thanks for 3 months. Anyway...
dig a hole somewhere and make dirt. Not make dirt, but you know what I'm talking about. It could be anywhere. But it sure as shit not on some planet somewhere, because they don't exist. At all. You know, the summer before Flat Earth, I was researching, like structures on Mars.
Your wife loves that movie? Don't ask me? I'm gonna ask. What? Morok says, and that's the story of how Hannah became a furry. Not a furry! Nernandia says, more original than just a plumber fixing a pipe as usual. True?
I was revisiting the face on Mars, what a fun time that was. Thinking that, wow, there could be structures up there, man. That's cool.
The face on Mars was just a shadow effect.
Meanwhile, I didn't even know that there's no fucking space, that there's no satellites, there's no fucking planets up there. They're all mysterious, amazing.
That's true. I've been far too nice to furries. They all congregate in my chat now because I'm not mean to furries. What are you gonna do?
Light show up there, that's all that is. That's what God created, a clock up there, basically. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos. Let me be a part of your life.
I could just try and be brutally mean to the furries, but I think some of them would be into it, so it wouldn't really work. I'd just get a more dedicated base of, like, sub-furries. So I think I'm fine with the way it stands now.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris.
Recording in car on the bingo card.
From New York, Westchester County. And I'm just here to report day 3 of no chemtrails at all whatsoever. Clear, blue, fucking skies, the way it always should be. I'm going to try to give you a little... Look at that. Clear blue skies. Just clear.
What's that? Oh, that's a reflection in the window.
No chemtrails, no clouds. This is the way it should be. Okay.
Not holographic and or fake sun sky, no. Nernandia Owl says, nobody tell this guy about the website tracking the ISS so you could see it for yourself with a cheap telescope. Not that he'd ever do something that might challenge his views.
I mean, I'll get into the dome and all the other stuff, but in other videos. And I actually have a perfect vision here of the sun, which supposedly is 93 million miles away. That's
on average,
reflecting off that van right over there.
Yeah.
And it's right here too. Okay.
Yes, the one on the van is a reflection.
That's great. All right, so let's do a little equation here.
Oh boy, CC doing math. I'm so excited. Morok says, I will have you know I'm here because I was a chud in the 2010s and my favorite YouTuber at the time, Sargon of Akkad. went onto this channel called something like TBR, so I watched the video and found it funny, and I've been here since. I'm a girl now, and I like to pretend I'm no longer a bad person. Hey, you improved as a person, you got away from following the likes of Sargon. That's good. And honestly, I have regretted doing that Sargon video for years, but just the fact that you saw it and found other YouTubers that, like, showed you a different perspective, I no longer regret that video. If even one person saw that video and started following Jake and I, and even if in a small way we helped get you away from, like, that right-wing, far-right way of thinking, worth it.
Okay. Now that we're the third day of free chemtrail days and beautiful clear blue skies, which is absolutely wonderful on a Saturday, I want to look at this equation, and I want to discuss this with people, because the equation is actually to the curvature of Earth. Okay.
Oh, he's going to do 8 inches per mile squared, even though that's inaccurate.
Is 8 inches per mile squared.
No, it's not. That's inaccurate. That's something that they get from Zetetic Astronomy, which is a flat Earth text written, I want to say, in the early 20th century, maybe the late 19th century. That is not the calculation of curvature on a sphere. That's actually for a parabola, which gives you a much steeper curve than you see on a sphere. So it gives them really inaccurate numbers, and then they look at that inaccurate math and go, well, I shouldn't be able to see this far, even though they're using the wrong equation. I believe you need trigonometry in order to accurately determine how much obfuscation is caused by curvature over a certain distance. And I don't know trigonometry, and I know for a fact Chris doesn't, so... Gregory Term says, I was also a big fan of Sargon and his ilk. Hannah and Jake are a big part of why I'm no longer a chuddy piece of shit. Not to discount my own growth as a person. I'm very happy for you. Fiad Fairy, thanks for 2 months with Prime. Might be calculus? Okay, sorry. I thought it was trigonometry for some reason.
Difficult to understand. So 1 inch is 8 inches. So, I mean, 1 mile is 8 inches. So if you go out 1 mile, there should be a curvature of 8 inches.
Skipping Pixie.
And if you go out 2 miles squared, it's going to be 32 inches. That's almost 4.
Yeah, see, he's doing, like, a calculation for a parabola.
Feet. 4 feet's 48 inches, but I'm just saying it's almost 4 feet of curvature. Have you seen any curve? Have you seen anything at all
It's
to
free
prove
fairy,
to
the
you
DH is silent. Okay, sorry.
that you live on this spinning wet ball? It's preposterous. It's total nonsense. I mean, the equations itself show you that nothing makes sense. This sun is local. That's behind me.
What do you mean? It depends on what you mean by local. In astronomical terms, yeah, we're in the solar system. Yeah, but it is on average like 93 million miles away, which colloquially is not local. But in terms of how big space is, it's pretty local, but not what you mean. Renania Owl says, if I remember correctly, 8 inches per mile squared is used for surveying purposes sometimes, but it only works for fairly short distances. That makes sense.
Okay. It's a local projection.
Now it's fake sun. Yes.
There's no way it could peek through clouds or anything like that. It would take up the entire sky if it was a star.
No, because again, it's 93 million miles away. It's very big, but it's also quite far. Again, relative to how big we are. So, yeah, no, it looks the size it is.
I mean, just think about it.
If the sun took up the entire sky, everything would be dead. We'd be too close to it. We would be dead. No one could see it.
Use your senses. Use your mind and think for yourself. Okay. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos, and let me be a part of your life.
Good God. So that's what Chris has been up to. Those are all his recent videos. Just nailing it. Just nailing it today. So this is interesting. I don't know if Baja's still in chat, but boy, is she going to get a kick out of this. KBS666 with 100 bits says, assuming no obstruction and a 6-foot-tall observer, the visual horizon is 18 miles. But that's a rule of thumb. The Earth is not a perfect sphere, and you need to know your precise location and then do some pretty hairy math to know the actual precise horizon. Siberian Winter says, I would say Christ doesn't understand, or I assume you mean Chris, doesn't understand science is often counterintuitive, but this shit legit makes perfect sense to a layman when broken down. I was just saying you're gonna get a kick out of this if you're still watching. Sorry, I'm not. Okay. Okay. So this is interesting. This is the website of what's known as the General Science Journal. Now, that name is going to make you go, oh, like a scientific journal? Okay. So you might think, this has got to be a scientific journal, right? The General Science Journal. You'd think so, and that's what they want to appear as. You can donate to their page if you'd like. I wouldn't recommend it. Let's take a look at the purpose of the General Science Journal. Purpose of the site, dedicated to the free expression of scientific theories. The original and continued purpose of this page is to provide an opportunity for public presentation of scientific theories without prior and arbitrary assessment, criticism, or rejection by the recipient. Judgment by the few runs counter to the spirit of scientific exploration. The internet provides a world of criticism and support. Authors who make their theories known in this manner will probably find both. Papers on all aspects of science and philosophy are accepted. Readers who have opinions on the subjects are encouraged to participate. Your research papers or communications may be submitted at no cost to the respective GSJ editors, see listing, or an annual subscription may be purchased which allows entry of your personal profile, areas of interest, contact information, etc. Included is the ability to post and edit your own papers in multiple languages within the guidelines established. A significant feature is the ability of your readers to post comments on your profile and for you to respond. You may also use this feature by contacting persons of interest to read your papers and requesting they leave comments. Nernadia Owl says, aka none of this was peer-reviewed. Not only is it not peer-reviewed, just anyone can post anything they want and call it a paper. It's amazing. So, I thought it would be good. Ooh, papers by subject. They have one on genetics. Oh, they don't. They don't have genetics. Maybe just under biology. Vibrational origin of species. Oh boy! Learner organics versus evolutionary theory. Complaint to the International Criminal Court, The Hague. COVID-19. Anyway, today I thought we'd read a paper from the website called Disproving Gravity. So, the first thing you'll notice is that this is not, and even I, who am not a scientist, I'm not in academia, even I know this is not formatted like a formal paper. I don't see an abstract, of any sort, so I guess we're just gonna dive right in. There are several ways to disprove gravity. Actually, I'm sorry. Here's the beginning. The standard particle model has yet to find any evidence of gravity. This is the most concerning since gravity is used by most modern equations. Great particle accelerators have hunted for any signs of gravity. None found! You saw a French one about epigenetics. There are several ways to disprove gravity. One, experimentally. One simple experiment shows there is no gravity. The helium balloon, it rises. How is this possible? I'm gonna go out of my way to say, if you don't understand the mechanics behind how a helium balloon floats despite gravity, I'm surprised you're literate enough to write 2 pages. How is this possible? Classical mechanics shows that force equals the constant of gravity multiplied by the mass of object 1 multiplied by the mass of object 2 divided by the distance between the two masses raised to the second power. F equals gm1 m2 r to the power of 2. With this logic, the mass of the Earth is so great that the helium balloon would have no choice but to be attracted to the Earth. We have mass 1 pulling on mass 2 and mass 2 pulling on mass 1. F1 equals F2. This is just wrong. The force of the balloon that pulls to the Earth is not equal to the force that the Earth pulls on the balloon. It would not rise. What we see in this experiment is that the helium is rising to meet its level of density. No. Okay, buoyant force is a thing. Okay? So helium, being lighter than the atmosphere around it, rises. You can have multiple forces acting on an object, so even though there is gravity pulling the balloon down, the buoyant force of the helium in the balloon trying to get higher in the atmosphere because it's less dense than the air around it, that's also a force. And that force is higher than gravity, which is why it floats. No citations so far, no actual data, just claims. They're just making claims about balloons. Gravity is an incredibly weak force. Yes. I believe it is the weakest, which is confusing because there is a force called the weak force, but it's the weak nuclear force, which is a different thing. It does have an upward bias. Commutative. The mathematics of gravity is a concept called zero-point mass. This is a mass without a volume. This is not found in the universe. The main problem here is the reduction of three-dimensional densities to zero-dimensional masses. Once a density is reduced to a mass, the mass cannot be returned to the original shape of the density, so we cannot cube a zero to get anything but another zero. This breaks the commutative properties of addition. Let's look at some of the equations and how gravity fails at a fundamental level. Force equals mass times acceleration. We have a zero-dimensional mass, a two-dimensional vector that does not equal a three-dimensional field, so the main axiom of gravity fails the commutative test. This alone should disprove gravity. And India Owl says, I love it when they argue it's density and buoyancy when buoyancy only works when you have gravity. Indeed. Then he goes over the equations again. I don't do math, though, so I can't talk about that. Gravity fails the multi-body test. Gravity can only compute the force between two objects. Any equation that uses a sum of objects fails in this way. The first two objects' force is computed when the third body is commuted with the results of the first two bodies. Then that result is compounded with the fourth body. That's how summation works. The problem is that the distance between object 1 and 2 is not evaluated in the next iteration. I would imagine that physicists know what they're doing. I would imagine Baja is dying a little somewhere. Let's look at the hurricane that's traveling over the ocean. The spinning winds cause rotation in the ocean. The low pressure of the storm causes a bulge upward in the ocean. Heat and pressure are two of the main variables in this system. As the temperature increases, it decreases the pressure of the storm, causing an increase in the intensity of the storm. The heated air is forced up the eye wall. This is an example of temperature, pressure, force on density. It's not possible for gravity to describe this system with or without. Why are they acting like it is either density or gravity? These are both forces that are at play. This is not an either or scenario. This is an and. There are multiple forces acting on objects all the time. Questions posed by others. The rain fall because of gravity. That's not a question. The rain occurs because of water vapor cooling, temperature going closer to the dew point. The rain formation in itself is a very complex phenomena. The dynamics of rain formation depends on the presence of aerosols and fine particles. The dynamics of rain formation also depends on complex collisions and coalescence phenomena. The ascending motions of air is driven by gravity on all parts of the atmosphere. The ascending motion is also affected by the Coriolis force. The motion is also affected by the drag of rain. The motion is also affected by the detailed geometry of the hurricane. The fluid dynamics itself exhibits an incredible complexity like turbulence and instabilities. The term T in the Navier-Stokes equation above hides a lot of complexities that often still need to be understood. Heat exchange plays an important role, yet is not simpler than the fluid dynamics. The rain falls because of gravity. Rain falls because as cold water is more dense or less buoyant than the surrounding air. Let's go to a biology one. I want to see if there's anything that'll make Baja scream from downstairs. Let's do vibrational origin of species. Baja in this moment with a link.
Oh, come on! You're a superhero?
Yes.
Sure you are. Let me guess. That's your magic briefcase!
No, it's actually a normal briefcase.
Alright, fine. Show me what you got. But it better be cool!
Oh. It's She-Hulk.
How's this? Hot stuff.
Cool. You're cool. Woohoo!
You don't happen to be any relation to...
Yeah, the Hulk's my cousin.
It's good enough for me. Do you mind letting me down?
We could use an extra hand against the mole man.
Alright, back to the thing. Oh, this one's actually formatted better. How nice. Look, there's charts. Holy shit. Vibrational origin of species. I know Baja said she's watching the coverage of the Johnny Depp thing, but I'll at least read a little bit of this. Abstract. There have been many efforts to understand the origin of species or living systems. Little interest in knowing the principle of the origin of formation. A single spontaneous origin of information has promoted a random and boring evolution that does not respect the creative dynamics of life. Therefore, an origin from a vibrational architecture based on natural hierarchy through a greater center of life is postulated as the last universal common ancestor. Thus, the forces of phylogenesis are considered physical. Thereby, the environment where biological systems live, survive, anticipate, differentiate, and evolve is posited through the creation of multiple hierarchies derived from a universal model. A hierarchical model that describes the complementarity between extremes, local, global, entity ecosystems in a coherent and coupled way. The system shows that the vibrationary progression defines evolution through a musical hierarchy composed of a system by objects. Also, it is suggested that rhythmic differentiation promotes biodiversity. The creation of the universal tree highlights how everything has an evolutionary rhythm, initiated, moderated, and perpetuated eternally from the mind. This approach has an important considerations about information processing and biological systems that allows us to expand the framework of DNA action. The implications fall into theoretical biology, biomedical, computational, and genetic actions. Word salad on the bingo card. Oh boy, 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 boy. Introduction. Is it possible to create a paradigm of the nature of living beings that is structured solely by a theory of vibration? Is it possible to dictate an origin even though we are all one? Is it... Oh, this person took too many hallucinogenic drugs. If you ever hear someone going on about like, oh, we're all one, man. We're all one with the everything's all one. Ask them. Did you take mushrooms? Did you take LSD? Was it peyote? Was it DMT? What did you take that broke your brain? Discordant Vol says, some people should never have access to string theory. Oh, I hear steps. Are we gonna get Baja Blasts on the bingo card? And Indy Owl says, I wonder if Sleeping Warrior's Experiment would be on there. Hello! Have you decided to participate?
I've decided I might participate.
Yes, I knew I could lure you! You've been successfully lured!
Yeah.
I knew it!
I'm not used to having long hair anymore. It's so long. Alright, let's see if there's anything worth my time in the...
Oh, I guarantee it's not worth your time, but you're definitely gonna get mad at it.
Hello, Father.
Is it possible to create a paradigm of the nature of living beings that is structured solely by a theory of vibration? Is it possible to dictate an origin, even though we are all one? Is it possible to distinguish, even in diversity, the unity inherent in every organism? The demonstration of uniqueness is one of the most important conclusions of modern biology. For example, the genetic code is almost identical for all forms of life. There's actually a citation here. Implying that many molecular characteristics of life are often universal. Origin, by definition, refers to the beginning or cause of something, i.e. the root from which it comes. The last universal common ancestor is the organism at the root of the tree of life, the ancestor of all living organisms today. This hypothesis arises due to the publication of The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, opening the possibility that all living beings are related through a great tree of life from a single universal ancestor. The estimation of its properties helps to understand even the previous steps in the origin of life on the planet, since it is a window into the past and, in addition, a glimpse into the future of existence. To this end, molecular genetics and biochemical approaches have been prioritized. However, despite improved phylogenetic methods, alternative systems for locating the root of the tree of life are desirable. Let me see if I missed anything.
Phylogenetic.
Phylogenetic, apologies.
It's funny because I just finished my last class, which obviously, oh god, it looks like my hair is gray. It's not. It's just, I have frizziness. I promise I don't have gray hair. I'm not
That is weird.
Yet.
That's an effect of the camera. How interesting.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's very, very strange. Does it go away if the...
Oh, it might just be shining more off of it.
I can't do this.
No?
That doesn't help. Is it the backlight from these? I'm very concerned. I do have gray hair, but not that much. Holy moly, it looks like I dusted flour on my hair back when I was in theater.
Freaking out 99, thanks for 20 months.
It's funny. So, like, normally PhD students finish their classes well within, like, the first 2 or 3 years of their PhD, but I was part of a training fellowship, which meant I had extra classes so that I could be more focused in development and reproduction. So I just finished my last actual seminar that I need, and it was actually in phylogenomics. So we obviously talked a lot about Luca, the latest universal common ancestor, and the different ways that genetics are used to build phylogenetic trees, so showing how things are related to each other.
On the one hand, both neo-Darwinism and classical physics are based on the vision of 19th century. In recent years, contemporary physics has positioned itself as the perfect tool to understand the most complex aspects of nature, where biology and physics would be united in a single field of action. To find the root of
biophysics is a thing, like...
To find the root of everything, it may be necessary to rethink evolution, since it is clearly a phenomenon of increasing complexity over time.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay, so my hypothesis for this is that it was written by a very young undergrad that took a biology course. Whether that being the biology course that's necessary for even people that are not majoring in biology, which one of my lab mates is actually teaching, and it's interesting because I got to pull in some of the articles that Hannah's covered. so that she could, about like COVID misinformation, so that she could teach the class about basically understanding what a good evidence-based article is versus not. So that was fun. But my hypothesis is that someone took a biology class and they were like, I now know everything.
They took a biology class and hallucinogenic drugs and thought they knew everything.
And they clearly are not, I would say they're not a biology major, or they weren't paying attention very well because their citations are not in proper format. So I think this is MLA format, and when you, at least all of the biology classes that I've taken and taught, which is weird to say, that I've actually taught things, but we use cells, their journal-specific citation process. And I think that that's mostly what universities use to teach biology. So
God, you know what's weird? There's a specific citation format for psychology stuff, too, that's different.
Yeah, ALA.
Oh, God, I hate it.
No, is it ALA?
I don't remember what it's called, but I remember having to learn it in my first year.
I know there's like MLA, ALA, Chicago, and then... APA, that's what it is. Okay. And biology, they kind of just latched on, okay, so journals have their own formatting usually. Cell specifically has formatting where the citations at the end of the sentence that are in quotation marks would be formatted as first author, and if it's only another author, so it would be, let's just say, Blast and Hannah et al., if Hannah was Hannah's last name. And then the date of the publication. If it's more than one author, it would be, Blast et al. 2013 or whatever. So this is clearly not that formatting.
No. I mean, I'm impressed they cited anything at all. The last one had 0 citations.
Yeah.
My standards are very low for this.
That's why my hypothesis is that they have at least done a college level of something. Yeah. Because it is formatted, like the headers are interesting, and they are indicative of either like a senior high school student or a early college student, in my opinion.
Let's see. Thus, the various hierarchical theories of evolution are based on nested or scalar hierarchies. However, our approach requires a more sophisticated and complete model that can confidently project the existence of a natural hierarchy. First, we need an explanatory model of evolution that is not so constrained against change. Survival in relation to the environment has been a constant in theories of evolution. Unfortunately, man, in order to know himself deeply, has forgotten his bilateral relationship with the environment, an environment that allows him to stabilize and progress, or to dismantle and wait. A global environment and a local entity that he cannot and is not interested in reconstructing, since he limits himself to destroying, separating, and analyzing a multi-fractioned whole.
Okay, so, in my humble opinion, the model of evolution is not constrained against change. It just says that there is no purpose to change other than survival of the fittest. So
if there aren't environmental pressures, it doesn't necessitate change. It doesn't do anything. Is that what you're saying?
No, there would... Okay. It's hard to explain. But basically, evolution is based on random mutations. So they are 100% inherently random. The ones that stick around in the population as a whole are ones that increase survival or are neutral. So there are some changes that are detrimental, but they occur after the age of procreation, so they're not selected against. which is interesting and a whole other can of worms. Yes, that XY girl, we are teaching evolution. Not deleterious, yes. But so it's just weird because I feel like the definition of evolution is not constrained whatsoever. And the idea that survival is in relationship to the environment isn't negated by their next sentence, which is, unfortunately, man, in order to know himself, has forgotten his... You took that off the screen when I was reading it.
Sorry.
Has forgotten his relationship with the environment. That doesn't make sense in terms of them just saying that evolution takes into account the survival within the environment. And, like, I understand that evolution is misunderstood quite frequently as we are evolving towards something, like towards our best self, our most effective self, the smartest, the fastest, the strongest, when that's not the case. Hi, Olive. The changes that occur are random, and if they help you survive or don't hurt you, then they can stick around.
If it became more advantageous to be dumber and slower, those things would become more prevalent within the population.
Yep.
If it helped you breed more effectively.
Or if we...
Or survive enough to breed more effectively.
Or if we...
Oh, Jesus,
shit,
Olive.
Oliver. I think he's stuck. He's like tangled up in the cord, I think.
Honey. Now he's in the Hartnell. You got another cat? We've had Olive for a little bit now.
Yeah, since December. We got him a couple of days before Christmas, so the 21st of December, I'm pretty sure. Which was also a couple of days before Lupine's birthday.
Now I just really, really want to commission someone someday to make a cat tree that looks like the Hartnell.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Discordant Vol says, me, modify our environment. That's our survival of evolutionary trait, looking at nature and saying, let's fix this.
So something that I was gonna say is, you said that if being dumber or whatever was, it helped us better survive. It could also be if we have increased technology so much, or what have you, whatever it is, if something suddenly becomes easier and we don't need that thing anymore and it helps us preserve energy. So let's say humans survive for 2 million more years and we have really, really good technology and we no longer really need to have active memory of things because we can just look it up immediately, right? There could be mutations that, we can't remember as much, but they could be selected for because it saves energy.
Replicant 2019, thanks for 7 months, says 7 months, and then mentions the Supreme Court, which we're not talking about today.
No, that's a warning. Don't mention the Supreme Court.
They probably don't know. We're just not talking about it today. We're trying to avoid it.
You get a warning, and then if you bring it up again, we're gonna time you out for a minute.
Let's see. There we go. An environment modeled according to man's perception, an environment modeled by his state of consciousness and his internalization of his place in the cosmos, a universal context closer to reality should include all possible hidden variables, all possibilities, hidden variables, and not only a limited frame of observation. Information theory becomes crucial in determining what we can say about reality, a fragmented reality or not, which applies to the study of living systems. According to Shapiro, information processing is the driving force that provides heritable changes in biological systems. However, what sources of information does the universe possess that our senses or experimental capabilities are not able to encompass? Again, a problem of scale. If the scale tends to 0, the information tends to infinity. If the scale tends to infinity, the information tends to 0. The scale of perception represents a problem of observation that reflects a certain complementarity of information, both for its existence and for its propagation. Thus, information would not exist solely by itself. Therefore, the description of a mechanism of generation, processing, and reception of information through an introductory center becomes the main task if we want to address the origin of life and the wide diversity we find within it.
None of that makes slightly amount of sense, and I want... Go back up. I want badly to figure out what paper Shapiro 2009 is, because... Let's see. Information processing is the driving force that provides heritable changes in biological systems. I don't see any way that makes any sense. And I have a feeling that they're being quoted out of context.
Universal ancestor. The furthest back we can extrapolate modern life is to an RNA world where RNA carries out both coding and catalysis.
Where?
Right here.
Catalysis.
Catalysis. Eukaryotes have preserved a more...
Oh, shit. We gotta go back. I missed that first sentence. The farthest back we can extrapolate modern life is to an RNA world where RNA carried out both coding and catalysis. I mean, kind of. The RNA world is a hypothesis. There are other hypotheses.
Eukaryotes have preserved a more complete record of the supposed RNA world processing pathway than prokaryotes. Furthermore, statistical data shows that LUCA may be mesophilic or a moderate thermophile, with a genome and RNA processing systems more characteristic of eukarya. Likewise, LUCA has been modeled similarly to bacteria, proteins, and groups of different classes of biomolecules. However, the search for an ultimate universal ancestor as a unique and privileged entity indicates a primitive understanding of what life actually is and how it arose in the universe. Viruses are not considered alive? That's a debate, correct? That's a big debate.
It's not a big debate. It's just funny.
Okay.
Because, it's like yes and no. I would say no. I would say that viruses are not alive because they require outside replication machinery to perpetuate itself.
Some animals do, though, too.
No.
Some animals require other animals to procreate.
No. That's not the same thing as requiring the actual machinery that allows proteins to be built. Being housed in an apple, if you are a wasp, to hatch from your egg is not the same thing as physically needing to be in someone else's cell and use that cell's machinery to reproduce.
Okay. KBS says, the only 2009 Shapiro I could find was this, but it's a psychology paper? The art and science of mindfulness, integrating that's gotta be a completely different thing. I would think.
Oh, do they have an actual citation page at the bottom where it fleshes out?
It's possible.
Oh, they do.
Huh. I don't know what the number of the citation was.
There isn't a number. It's alphabetical.
Oh.
But also, they did the hanging indent opposite of what it should be. The name should be out here, and the rest should be in.
Revisiting the Central Dogma in the 21st Century, Annals of the New York Academy of Sciences.
Oh my God! So it's like a.
You immediately got upset. That's lovely.
I'm pretty sure that is a report. So it's like.
So it says, how about this?
Letter to the editor.
Yep, that'd be it.
Yeah, so this is a single author paper written by someone in Chicago. I'm not sure whether these are peer-reviewed or if they're just kind of like letters to the editor.
Anyway.
Yes, that was a presentation somewhere. Okay, so probably Belstar is thinking the same thing that I am, where it's like it was presented, but not peer-reviewed.
The starting point of the Tree of Life has been the tripartite. God, I hate reading scientific papers. I swear I'm literate. I just don't know certain words.
I think it's tripartite.
Tripartite division into the domains archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. Assuming the tripartite division, the question of the nature of Luca is dual in proportion, since primary domains are distanced to the sides of a center, where in some trees eukarya is located, which retains the greatest biochemical similarity to that assumed for Luca. The root in turn has 6 possible locations, 3 on branches and 3 within domains.
Can you pause for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So KBS 666 said single author things like that aren't usual, at least in math. Yes. So primary literature usually has more than 2 authors. If it's a review, at least in biology and chemistry, as far as I've experienced, it's 1 or 2 people. Belstar says it's a communication. So it's basically like this person said this thing, and they put it as like a little note in the journal. It wasn't peer reviewed. It was just like, hey, someone said something.
However, horizontal gene transfer and genome fusion and phylogenetic reconstructions have promoted new hypotheses about the origin of eukaryotes, i.e., in the Tree of Life, only 2 domains, eukaryotes arise from prokaryotes, making Luca the ancestor of bacteria and archaea. Thus, the eukaryotic genome resulted from a fusion of 2 diverse prokaryotic genomes. Genome fusion turned trees into rings. The ring is the product of a repetitive pattern that indicates that the possible variations of trees to be formed are simply permutations of an underlying cyclic pattern where the data are not like a tree but like a ring of life.
Scroll back up.
Hydrate.
Okay, so 100%.
Hydrate.
You don't need to hold the bottle for me.
I do.
No, that was weird. I hardly even got any water.
I'm sorry.
You gotta go back. So the way that this is phrased, genome fusions turn trees into rings. I thought that it meant literal trees and the rings in the trees for a moment. So what they're oh boo, this doesn't have the normal PDF.
What they're saying is it takes the tree and it makes it this other.
So 2 genomes, 2 species, which also the lines on a phylogenetic tree don't represent genomes, they represent species. So it's speciation. So divergence at some point. But if this is talking about if they fuse together, you get another line, and apparently they are calling this a ring. I would be interested to see what Rivera and Lake 2004 actually said.
Let's see. On the other hand, if we wanted to place the root of life in physical terms, it would not be strange to elucidate living beings as thermodynamic systems, since both classical and quantum systems are observable from the formulation of one element, energy? Thus nothing, regardless of molecular or genetic characteristics, can escape the thermodynamic imperatives of the mutual relation between energy absorption and emission. Under this approach, the forces of phylogenesis are physical. Therefore, with such a well-developed quantum theory and particle physics at its peak, it is incomprehensible not to link biological origin to something as subtle, seemingly imperceptible, but found in the whole, as is vibration. That sounded like dog shit to me.
Oh yeah.
That sounded like nonsense.
Yeah, complete and utter nonsense. So they take they're taking a bunch of Is that Cass?
That's Olive. He's sniffing something and sneezing. He's probably getting dust because he's in the corner.
they're taking a bunch of unrelated concepts and smushing them together and saying like, aha, because these two things exist, they have to be linked together and they have to explain each other. And so because like quantum physics and genetics are both they both exist, then I can call the origin of life vibration, which makes no sense. That it's they're trying to say A plus B equals X, and so I'm gonna say Z equals A plus B. So they're not connected whatsoever.
All right, after this next section, I'm probably going to call it enough on this paper. Because it's like, it's many, many pages long. Tucker White says, okay, I just walked in and I'm seeing numbers and charts, so what the hell am I looking at? A paper just written by some rando. The deepest levels of nature can be described as vibrational energy in the sense that each specific type of elementary particle should be viewed as a mode of string vibration, which, that's just string theory, right? That's what string theory is?
Yeah, the next sentence says that it's posited by string theory.
Right, but I thought string theory wasn't confirmed. It was just like a hypothesis. The latter is posited by string theory of M theory, where strings could represent a fundamental building block for the universe and vibrational patterns of a network of mutual relationships. Thus, living organisms are complex compositions of billions of such wave-particle modalities. However, the fundamental principle underlying string theory remains to be known. Quantum mechanics...
Can you pause for a second? Can I have the mouse? I want to just scroll through this and see if I can find anything else interesting. You okay?
Yeah, I just smell cat poop.
Well, there is a litter box.
I know. It smelled like fresh poop. Discordant Volt says, man, string theory is such a cult. I mean, it's a thing that I think actual scientists, like, think is a thing. I just don't think it's been confirmed for sure. And unfortunately, a lot of woo-woo people use it for nonsense.
Where did this even come from? Associated with the concept of dynamic stability with morphogenesis during regeneration. An example of this is whole body regeneration, which allows us to observe how the tails or heads of certain animals can regenerate completely.
India Owl says, there is at least one woo-woo guy who thinks it's literally about everything being connected by strings. That's funny.
Okay, so you give us a figure with a title.
Partial information hierarchy.
But you don't give me any explanation of what these numbers are supposed to represent. What does the colors represent? Does the space within these bars actually mean anything? What are you fucking saying? Also, I don't think... Oh, there we go. Thus, the hierarchy is placed vertically within itself. Like... I wish that I had this confidence.
I don't think you do.
No.
This level
seriously.
is bad.
I wish that I had, like, this, I'm just gonna write shit down mentality.
Yeah.
Without, like, being inhibited by, like, perfectionism. Like, I hate writing rough drafts of things. If it isn't perfect, I don't want to do it. Right? But this person, they
said, fuck it.
They just went off.
Yeah.
And I wish that I had that.
Just all their mental diarrhea out for everyone to see. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. Vibrational hierarchy. The vibrationary progress allows us to understand the evolutionary passage of apparently inanimate matter that nevertheless possesses vibration. Thus, a dynamic potential biological levels is proposed according to the previous disintegration that through certain conditions leads to a new establishment in higher energy levels. Such a progression is related to order and not the drastic appearance of novelty. Oh my god, it's bullshit all the way down.
Also, I love how we're just citing people by their first and last name. That's not how you do that. You don't just go, I'm citing Baja Blast 2019. Like, no. You're not on a first name basis with Mr. Dirk Meyer here, which I wonder if he's part of the Meyer family from Michigan. That'd be fucking hilarious. I want to see if they say anything else about Luca. Oh, Christ. What do these patterns mean?
Therefore, if the information is emitted from a primordial level of energy corresponding to the primary or fundamental information as it propagates to the next level, it will be transformed into a defined level. Third, generating the variability of the form product of the continuous universal expansion mediated by the convergent information. Describing in depth the intrinsic level, we find the differentiation of the form, novelty, since here, the action level of the entropics...
God, you gotta slow the fuck down.
I'm trying to read it fast because
care.
it's just fucking nonsense.
I don't care. It's not even worth it if you're gonna read it that fast.
Replicant, thanks for 1,000 bits, says, Hannah, what's the difference between being on the left and being progressive? I would say being on the left could include kind of milquetoast liberals, where being progressive is wanting change, especially socially, economically. I might not be the best person to answer, but at least that's how I think of it. Like, Joe Biden is a center, he's on the center left, but I wouldn't call him a progressive. I'd just call him like a Democrat or moderate left. Bardlock moves us with 100 bits. Honestly, he's probably not even a great example. He's kind of centrist, but you know what I mean. Tucker White says, Silly Hannah and Baja, the numbers obviously spell out a hidden message. Have you learned nothing from the everything equals 9/11 guy? I guess not. Oh, we're on a hype train. 81% to level 1 on the hype train. Ran the Fool says, no, it becomes 666 with 100 bits. Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub, getting us over level 1 of the hype train. You reading this still? You want to learn about the Ankh?
Okay.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Wait, I want to see who the acknowledgements it is.
KBS says, why are there Ankhs in this crazy paper? Who knows? Innocuous Blonde says, this is meaningful because patterns and pretty colors, and Memesor Kolboth, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Argonian Bum with 100 bits says, choo choo, I think it's important that we keep note of the color orientation of the objects on the shelf, as Hannah and Baja have perfectly catered it in such a way that they're exposing the Illuminati 1 pixel at a time. You caught us.
Oh my god, the last paragraph of this is fucking wild.
61% to level 3. The present paper is only the gateway as it introduces general ideas that require further extension, development, and collaboration amongst multiple disciplines. Therefore, it is necessary to unify apparently diverse concepts such as high-energy physics, quantum physics, non-locality, holography, and chaotic systems with genetics and epigenetics to obtain a much greater knowledge of our nature. All this, adding information theory, gives us the hint a revitalizing paradigm that deserves the discoveries of the new times, a time in which planetary dynastic stability demands greater syntropy and a new establishment of consciousness, a consciousness that has been implicitly described throughout this article. Well, that's bullshit. Thrashmeo, thanks for 200 bits. Discordant Vol, thanks for gifting a sub. Bardlock Moses, thanks for gifting a sub. 17% to level 4. That was interesting. I appreciate you coming.
That was hell.
Oh.
Do they have any that are like mention embryos?
I can try. Embryos.
Or just embryo. That's...
Will I Am Not Okay, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Sky Comet Fallen says, I hear creationists use epigenetics. What is that? Asking you.
Oh, wait, what?
I hear creationists use epigenetics. What is that?
So epigenetics literally means on top of genetics. So it is things that are things that basically determine how genes are regulated, whether they're turned off or on, and they are usually environmentally triggered. So basically, if you live in like a warm climate, if there are genes that you don't need because you've been in that environment for a long time, they can get turned off. So there are like methylation marks, ubiquitination marks, acetylation marks, and those different marks happen at the beginning of genes sometimes at the end of genes, but they are basically like on and off switch for things that you don't need or you need more of. So it's basically things that affect genetic expression that are not the actual genes.
Simzoid, thanks for 12 months. Happy anniversary. Says, for a cleanse, today is my cat's 2nd birthday. Tumsy, the cat, has no idea what the day is about, but he does know that his day has been filled with extra treats, a special dinner, and that he is allowed to sit in my chair for an hour while I worked on the floor.
Oh, happy birthday! He's so cute. I love the little white tuft of fur above his nose.
We'll check the bingo card in a sec. Mr. Whiskers says, sweet, I made it back before the stream ended and I caught the hype train. Thank you. Replicant, 200 bits, 46% to level 5. Let's check the bingo card real quick.
Fuck off.
Don't drop it then. It's making an annoying noise. Let's see. Oh my god. Word salad. Did they cite a study from the 18th or 19th century?
No, I don't think so.
Think that's it for this page. Baja Blast, of course. That's not on this page, is it? No, I think it's on the second page.
Yeah, it's 56.
Flat Earth. That's not how science works for the entirety of that website. Replicant, thanks for gifting 2 tier 1 subs. 77%. Baja Blasts. Oh my god, please stop. Lupine, Cassia, Olive make a guest appearance.
Oh, also, I'm gonna have to make a new bingo card for
Holographic
this
fake sun sky.
to remove the
call stuff.
Call stuff because I don't have access to edit this one anymore. I lost the link to it, so I'm just gonna have to copy this one and edit out the call ones.
My research said not by a researcher. I don't know if they specifically said my research, but they wrote a whole goddamn paper, so I'm gonna count that. Recording in car. Wait, yeah, we watched Chris in the car in the second video of his. And I think that's it. 77% to level 5. Is Call gone? No, but I'm not covering him anytime soon. He's crazy. He's crazy. Here's one. This is a paper, air quote, 80% to level 5 with 30 seconds left. Very close. Let's see how this goes. This is a letter to the International Criminal Court, which I assume they've received a lot of these over the last couple of years from crazy people. Will I am not okay with 45 bits. Stone Core Bell with 200 bits says, train, 88% with 18 seconds left. Hydrate. Subject of complaint. Violations of the Nuremberg Code. Violation of Article 6 of the Rome Statute. Violation of Article 7 of the Rome Statute. Violate of Article 8 of the Rome... I assume they meant to type statute there, but, you know, you're just sending a letter to the International Criminal Court. Why double check the spelling?
They're fucking talking about vaccines.
Yep. This is, by the way, compares public health to Holocaust on the bingo card. Grimpy Coffee, thanks for 69 bits. Violation of Article 8 Biz 3 of the Rome Statute. Based on the extensive claims and enclosed documentation, we charge those responsible for numerous violations of the Nuremberg Code, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and crimes of aggression in the United Kingdom, but not limited to individuals in these countries. Perpetrators: Prime Minister for the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson; Chief Medical Officer for England, Chief Medical Advisor to the UK government, Christopher Whitty. You get it, it's going to list a lot of government officials. Victims: the peoples of the United Kingdom. Then it is like applicants for this. Legal representation and election of domicile. The applicants will be represented for the purpose of this procedure by this person. Consequently, all subsequent correspondence shall be sent only to the email address given above. Any notification within the meaning of the statute of the court addressed in this way will be considered valid. Mr. Prosecutor, this communication and complaint is provided to the Office of the Prosecutor pursuant to the United Kingdom's accession to the International Criminal Court's Rome Statute, deposited with the Secretary General of the United Nations, October 4th, 2000. We have tried to raise this case through the local English police and the English court system without success. We have been unable to even get the case registered either with the police or with the court after several attempts. The statute for the ICC declares that the ICC is intended to complement, not replace, national criminal systems. It prosecutes cases only when a state is unwilling or unable to genuinely carry out investigation or prosecution. Oh no, here we go.
Do we have any lawyers in chat right now? Because I know nothing about, like, law formatting or literally fucking anything.
I can tell you,
it'd be incredible to hear from someone.
Yeah, it's definitely not in, like, the United States format. I have no idea what it's like in the UK, or if there's a specific one for the International Criminal Court, if they have a specific way that they format things. Coronavirus, they put in quotes, vaccines.
Also, it's not coronavirus, it's coronavirus.
Are an innovative medical treatment which have only received temporary authorization under Regulation 174 of the Human Medicine Regulations Act 2012. The long-term effects and safety of the treatment in recipients are unknown. It is important to note that the coronavirus vaccines are the world's first introduction to synthetic mRNA technology, and all previous immunizations worked in a totally different manner, by way of introducing a deactivated or weakened virus to the body to trigger a natural arousal of the immune system against it. As detailed by Dr. Mike Yeadon, the risk anticipated by this innovative medical treatment are hereby enclosed as Appendix 1 to this request.
All right. Why do you always do that?
Because I'm checking stuff.
I need to see it. Check it over here. So this was not the world's first introduction to synthetic mRNA technology in the slightest. Not even close at all. It wasn't even the first introduction to the idea of mRNA vaccines. Yes, it was the first human mRNA vaccine there had been other ones that had been studied for use in like agriculture for animals, and so this wasn't like a brand new thing. It's funny because I just gave a talk about mRNA vaccines, debunking the myths and misconceptions. So I just gave a talk about this. Also, that's not how you spell immunizations.
They're doing their best. Sky Comet Goddess says, all lawyers in chat died of stupidity overload. Discordant Volt says, wait, arousal. And that XY girl with 50 bits posts the Baja Blast emote. All Phase 3 COVID-19 vaccine trials are ongoing and not due to conclude until late 2022, early 2023. The vaccines are therefore currently experimental with only limited short-term and no long-term adult safety data available. In addition, they're using a completely new mRNA vaccine technology which has never previously been approved for use in humans. The mRNA is effectively a pro-drug, and it is not known how much spike protein any individual will produce. Potential late-onset effects can take months or years to become apparent. The limited children's trials undertaken to date are totally underpowered to rule out uncommon but severe side effects.
No, thank you. So again, I already talked about mRNA vaccine technology. It's not new. The idea that we don't know how much spike protein you will produce after getting the vaccine, that's also false. These vaccines still went through trials. They still went through testing. It was just expedited so that we could limit the loss of life when they were found to be safe in these trials. And we know because mRNA is so unstable that it does not last in the body for very long.
See, what's frustrating to me is that I think like conspiracy theorists now, not that I believe it, but my brain just automatically is able to say, and they say, unstable, you're putting something unstable inside my body, because they're not looking for logical...
That's true.
They're looking for scary words that will make them feel better about the things they already believe.
That's true. So let's go with not unstable, but we'll say it's very quickly broken down by your body. So, also, Bellstar has a very important point, which the amount of mRNA that you can inject into a person with the small amount that you're given with the vaccine is limited. And the spike proteins only last, cells that have the spike proteins from the mRNA only last in your body for about a week, because your body recognizes the spike protein as not self and says, hey, this isn't us, so we kill that cell. So any cells that are like expressing the spike protein are killed by your own body after a week.
Nandy Owl says, and I'm pretty sure at this point they've been able to do all the procedures they originally skipped to. Zootltima, thank you for gifting a sub. Appreciate it. The COVID-19 vaccines do not meet the requirements to be categorized as vaccines and are in fact gene therapy. The Merriam-Webster dictionary quietly changed the definition of the term vaccine to include components of the COVID-19 mRNA injection. Yeah, because the definition of vaccine changed. If you invent a new kind of vaccine, then you need to change the definition of vaccine. What?
It's like saying that the advent of the Kindle means that you have to change what the definition of a book is.
And that's nefarious. Yeah.
Because it's suddenly books can also be digital and not just pages.
Yeah. The definition of vaccine was specifically changed due to the COVID-19 injection on February 5th, 2021. Dr. Mike Yeadon, joint application on this request, asserts that claims calling the COVID-19 injections a vaccine is public manipulation and misrepresentation of clinical treatment.
Okay, I'll be back in like 1 second. Can you take a pause and do something else? Because this paragraph interests me greatly, and I will be back real quick. I have to say it's not gene therapy. Just for the record, it's not changing gene expression. It is not inserting anything into your DNA. It just is what it is. I will be back.
Okay.
Hey guys, this is Conspiracy Todd again with this week's video proving that the moon landings were fake. Alright, this week we're going to look again at John Young's lunar salute on Apollo 16. But first...
Andy Pretzel says, my brother gets mad over the change of definitions of a vaccine, and he thinks it was pushed out too fast and smells fishy. Meanwhile, my ass is vaxxed up, and I'm like, just get the prick.
First, I found this website. Talks about jumping high. How can you jump high? The science behind jumping high. The number one factor... very, very important.
Isn't the measles vaccine an mRNA vaccine? Not to my knowledge. I don't know if they came out with one, but the first, to my understanding, the first human vaccine that's mRNA based is the COVID one.
And it says is your velocity at takeoff. So let's look at the velocity at takeoff here.
Okay, here we go, a big one. Off the ground.
So we're just talking about how fast his feet are leaving the ground. Okay? And this is me. Don't judge. How fast?
You did not go up nearly as high, for the record. Is he about to say, see, I jumped just as high? He did not jump just as high.
Faster my feet leaving the ground. I think they're leaving the ground a whole lot faster than they are here on the moon. So again, watch how fast his feet leave the moon. I think they're leaving the moon in slow motion. I don't think that's the way it should happen. Let's just do a little thought experiment here. Let's say we have a little switch on the wall where we can turn the gravity up or down. And I'm jumping off the ground at this, my feet are...
Metal Turtle says, and he wasn't wearing 100 pounds of gear.
My whole body is leaving the ground at this speed. If I turn the gravity down, is that going to slow me down going up, or is it going to speed me up going up? I think it'll speed me up going up, because if you turn the gravity down, you're turning down the resistance. So there's less, and I weigh a whole lot less. Let's say I turned it down to half, 1/2 gravity, 1/2 Earth gravity. So instead of weighing 200 pounds, now I weigh...
Yeah, Hannah exasperated head in hands
100 pounds.
on bingo.
When I jump, I'm going to come off the ground faster than if I weighed 200 pounds. And conversely, let's say I turned it up to 1.5 G's, 1.5 Earth gravity. Now instead of weighing 200 pounds, I weigh 300 pounds.
Yeah, he has an audible mic.
When I try to jump, my muscles are going to be working against more gravity, and so I'm going to be jumping slower. So I think that NASA got it wrong. I think they got it 180 degrees wrong when they got these guys coming off the ground in slow motion. Now I agree the rest of it would probably look like it's in slow motion, but their initial velocity off of the ground should be as fast or even faster than here on Earth.
They have more mass than you. All right, moving on back to the other thing.
I love you.
Okay, here's the paragraph you wanted.
Just think of it as...
Do you want me to read it, like, out loud?
Oh, no, I'll do. You just said you were interested in this.
Yeah.
So okay. It's not a vaccination. It's not prohibiting infection. It's not a prohibiting transmission device. It's a means by which your body is conscripted to make the toxin that then allegedly your body somehow gets used to dealing with it. But unlike a vaccine, which is to trigger the immune response, this is to trigger the creation of the toxin. mRNA uses the cell's machinery to synthesize proteins that are supposed to resemble the spike proteins of the virus, which is what they use to enter the cells. The spike proteins aren't the bad part. It's the spike proteins that are connected to the COVID do, right? Like, the spike proteins are fine.
Oh, yeah. So the spike proteins are basically just the virus has developed a way of getting... Developed. The virus has evolved in such a way that their spike protein acts as a key to the ACE2 receptor's lock, right? So they have evolved so where they will fit into this receptor, which will then allow them to get into the cells and co-opt those cells for reproducing the virus, which makes you sick because ACE2 receptors are present on cells in the respiratory system, the kidneys, and the like penis and testes. So they're present there, which means they can, you know, attack those cells because the ACE2 receptor is on those cells.
So basically what this guy is saying, let's say someone was training to fight an enemy army with swords and stuff, and they had a bunch of dummies that they constructed to look like the enemy that they can train on. This guy is basically walking into the room with the dummies and going, why did you let our enemies into the base?
Yeah. So and he's referring to the spike protein as a toxin, which is not at all the case in any semblance of anything. So in reality, the spike protein is just a key to getting into cells. Hey, Olive, I didn't realize you were there, baby.
Replicant with 1,000 bits says, I'm in Michigan, so I can legally say I'm way too high right now. Discordant Vol says, your body is the Dread Pirate Roberts. Let's see.
And also, the claim that the vaccine is not triggering the immune response.
That's untrue. That's literally how it works.
Is untrue. That is the whole point. Your cells get presented, your immune cells, the B cells get presented with the spike protein, which they know is not self, and they're like, oh shit, we gotta find someone that can bind to this thing so that we can get rid of it. That's how it trains your immune system. That's how all vaccines train your immune system. By giving you something that is harmless to train your immune system. So like if you were an army, it would be like giving dummies to the soldiers to know what to look for.
These proteins are then identified by the immune system, which builds antibodies against them. The real concern is that these proteins could accumulate in the body, especially in regions of high concentration of ACE2 receptors, such as the gonads. If the immune system... ACE2, sorry. ACE2. If the immune system then attacks the location where they accumulate, you could be dealing with an autoimmune condition.
She loves to scroll away from things. So it says the real concern is that these proteins could accumulate in the body in regions of high concentration of ACE2 receptors. That's not the case at all. The spike proteins are concentrated where you get the injection. They don't go very far whatsoever. And the spike proteins would have no reason to, like the mRNA would have no reason to go into the cells that express ACE2. Like if they did enter a cell that expresses ACE2 on its surface, it would just be happenstance. It's not, the mRNA is not targeting ACE2 receptors. It has nothing to do with ACE2 receptors. The spike protein is the thing that binds to ACE2 receptors. But because the mRNA that tells your body to create the spike protein is concentrated in your arm, and there aren't ACE2 receptors in those cells, the spike proteins that get presented on your cells after they're created from the mRNA aren't going to go seeking out ACE2 to bind to. That's not how things work.
So if someone injected a COVID vaccine directly into your scrotum, you might have an issue, but no one is doing that.
No. You wouldn't even have an issue.
Okay.
Because those cells, so just because the cells express ACE2 does not mean anything in relation to the vaccine.
Okay.
So you could have some of your cells that are expressing the spike protein that get bound to the ACE2 receptor. If you were injected in your gonads or directly into your fucking lungs, maybe, but that wouldn't do anything because the the cell that it's attached to is your own cell. It's not going to trigger it's not going to inject a virus into your cell because there's no virus. It's literally just a cell. Cells bump into each other, and and the ability for vaccines to trigger an autoimmune condition, I don't believe there has been any evidence that the mRNA vaccines are more likely to do that than other vaccines. There are things that occur when your immune system that is challenged that can lead to autoimmune conditions. Like there's hypotheses that ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease is caused by your immune system going into overdrive against the biofilms created by a certain complex of multiple bacteria in your gut. And if those are present, you get a very thick biofilm, and your immune system starts to attack that biofilm because it is reducing the amount of nutrition you're able to absorb, and then your immune system doesn't know where to stop because it gets so hyped up into overdrive. So that is something that is hypothesized where an immune response causes an autoimmune condition. But most people that develop this are genetically predisposed to an autoimmune condition.
Citosaurus says, here, have $2. Imagine I've crumpled them up and thrown them through the computer at you. Bonk. Just got off work. We'll watch the VOD later. Alright. I think I'm done, because this whole thing is really...
But PCR.
I know.
But I love talking about PCR.
I know, but then we'll be here for another hour.
Chat, tell her to let me do PCR.
Let me see, how long is the PC? I guess it's a shorter section. Jesus Christ. All right, this is the last section. A review from the University of Oxford Centre for Evidence-Based Medicine found that the standard PCR test, they wrote PRC accidentally, is so sensitive that it can detect old infections by picking up fragments of dead viral cells. Originally developed to detect the presence of DNA and RNA in biological samples, even its Nobel Prize-winning inventor, Kary Mullis, declared that PCR was never intended to diagnose a disease. It simply detects the presence of specific genetic material which may or not indicate infection.
Viagra was never intended to treat erectile dysfunction. It still does, and is, I think, probably one of the greatest prescriptions for that. I think it is used more for treating erectile dysfunction than it is for treating like blood pressure problems or heart disease. I can't remember which one it was made for. Just because something was not intended to do something does not mean that it can't. PCR is able to detect, able to be used to detect the presence of DNA or RNA. Usually when you do PCR, you convert any RNA into cDNA, which is a whole process. But yeah, so just because something wasn't intended doesn't mean it can't be used for.
XY Girl says, if I give bits, can we PCR? Apparently. I think Silly Putty was made as a wallpaper cleaner.
Yeah.
That or Play-Doh. I don't remember which one it was. Anyway, a lot of intentions don't get used for their original purpose. It simply detects the presence of specific genetic material which may or may not indicate infection. As Dr. Kary Mullis puts it, the PCR technique can find almost anything in anybody. The PCR test uses amplification cycles to find viral RNA. The sample is repeatedly chemically amplified to increase the RNA copies until they can be detected. Each cycle of amplification doubles the number of molecules in a sample. If you run enough cycles, you can effectively find a single molecule of any substance.
Nope, that's not the case. The whole point of PCR is you take the number of cycles and determine if something is present. So if you set a threshold for the number of cycles. So the more number of cycles that it takes to find something, the less is actually present. So no, that's why you have a specific threshold. You always have a control where it's like this control is X number of viral RNA copies, and then you do the experimental samples. So you know at this point someone that is 100% infected by it's been confirmed they have COVID. You can be like, okay, this sample also replicated the same number of times before getting picked up, therefore this person is also infected.
So you're saying the test is outlined, and when they developed whatever you call it, the way to do PCR for COVID, they say, okay, in someone we know is COVID positive, it takes X number of cycles to get this result. So when we run people experimentally, we need to find it within X number of cycles, plus or minus whatever the...
Yes. Okay. So you also want to do a negative control, which is something where you, in place of your RNA or DNA, you put in, usually it's distilled water, and you'll put that in, as well as all of the other chemicals that you need, all of the other things, so that if you're getting detection in that negative control,
you know it's your equipment or some other factor.
You know that it's just because you're getting background noise in your results. And so if the negative control is picking up the presence of COVID RNA after an extraordinary amount of cycles, like 35 cycles, you would know that anything over that amount is just background. It's not true signal.
Public Health England policy confirms that the cycle threshold should be set around 25.6, and if the machines must run more than 25 to 35 cycles to get a sample to the test's limit of detection, there isn't enough virus in the sample to matter clinically. Okay, so they're literally admitting that there's a cycle threshold that's set as a standard by Public Health England.
Yeah.
They're literally showing why the PCR test is viable clinically to detect infection in people. What?
Also, it makes me frustrated when people just call it PCR instead of like qPCR or RT-PCR, because there is PCR that is completely different than what qPCR or RT-PCR is.
We have information from Freedom of Information requests that as many as 40 to 45 cycles are being carried out, which is too many because it increases the chance of positive results even without coronavirus RNA being present in the original sample, hence the asymptomatic individuals. No. No. In addition to being completely unreliable, the PCR tests also contain carcinogenic ethylene oxide. Do they think do they think they're injecting people with PCR or something? Do they think it's a chemical they're injecting people with?
Bellstar, if you're still in chat, what is ethylene oxide? Because I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know what it's used for. Also, I think that the initial tests might have used like high numbers of cycles when they were first doing it.
Before they found a more stringent standard later on.
But that doesn't mean any, like, the number of cycles is okay as long as it's reasonable in context of like the controls.
I'm trying to see what their citations are.
Okay.
This is April 2021. Looks like that was from. Don't know why I can't see it. When was this? I don't see it. Oh, June 2021.
Okay, so there's also differences in parameters between the different PCR like equipment. So it also varies between that.
So are you saying that one cycle in one system might not be equivalent to one cycle in another system in terms of amplitude of the material? So they have to vary? Okay.
Yeah, so they can vary. They don't have to vary.
Sure.
So like Roche machines are generally like older than, I can't remember what the other machines are called, because we use a Roche in the lab that I'm a part of. But yeah, so the older the machine, the less chance that you'll get a full doubling per cycle. So you have to take that into account.
All right, so that's gonna be the stream. Rod of Iron Kingdom. It's Peter's Church. They have a Twitter.
Almighty.
They have a Twitch channel. I'm not gonna raid them.
Obviously.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna raid into someone else playing game, because we're keeping it chill. So come hang out tomorrow for another stream of some sort. I'll see if I can find those full sermons, like the Avengers thing, like the whole presentation. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but I'll give it a shot. Either way, have a nice night, everyone. I think that's it. Yeah, anything else?
Nope.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
Love you, Father.
Good night. Love you too. And Metal Turtle says bye.
Bye.